Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frame Trap. I'm your host, Brad Ellis. I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Michael Damiani.
What's up? What's up? A lot of games.
That's right.
Big games.
And our guest this week, or this episode, is Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
Legend in the industry. How y'all doing? How's everybody feeling today?
Doing all right. My sleep schedule is all out of whack.
I feel like your sleep schedule is always out of whack.
No, it's definitely super out of whack. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like waking up at 10:30 feels like it's early. I'm like, no, that's not good.
Yeah. Put in like 40 hours into a game for review this past.
That's a lot.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and like
That is a
lot
lot.
of that was like being up to like 3, 4 a.m. too. So it was like,
Man, Damian, when you're playing something, you grind it out.
Oh, yeah. The way
Big
he and
time.
Huber streams, like I can't even picture
Big
it.
time, grind it out.
Like those Huber streams over the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to like download it and I had to cut it up because it was over the limit for YouTube. You can't go over 12 hours on YouTube.
I make like a note now, mental note. Like when I hit about, if I ever get to like 7 or 8 hours in a stream, I'm like, okay, let's find a way to take a break here because I forget it's 12. I'm like, around here is where I should like cut because it's gonna get too long and blood's like it's gonna cause blood problems.
Yeah. Well, and then once you get into the longer, like I want to say like over 8 hours, it starts getting finicky and sometimes it won't process HD and stuff from the Twitch archives, and I've got to re-export them and stuff.
Yeah, I can't do that. I need breaks.
Right.
I'm just like, let me take like a lunch break or an hour or something, then come back. But I respect it. Okay, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about here. Lots of sick games, great comments from everybody. But before we begin, if you'd like to support us, join us over on patreon.com/easyallies. That is the lifeblood of this company. It's how we keep doing what we're doing. Thanks to awesome patrons over there. If you join the $5 tier, you can send in questions to this show and the Easy Allies podcast, as well as join our Discord over there. Lots of great stuff. All right, Damiani. I know you were very fond of this game. It had been stranded, though, for a long time, kind of. It's been hard to get a hold of. We'll talk about the different versions, but I'm curious. You've been playing Persona 3 Portable on Switch?
On Switch. In almost exclusively handheld mode.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, I remember when I put in the request and Damiani was like, oh, no Switch. I'm like, well, there's Switch. I just didn't think that's the thing you'd want.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is one where you want that portable.
Wanted that portable experience again.
That's right.
Good game, but definitely a good game suited
Definitely
to playing like in burst like that rather than doing like long marathon sessions.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the game's concept.
Yeah, totally. Well, tell me about it. Like, so I guess you're saying how it's good in handheld because you are playing the handheld version of the game.
Correct.
Portable.
Yeah. Is it okay to bring up any kind of differences yet, or do you want me to still?
No, we can talk about all that. Go ahead.
Just because for the frame
just
the
right off the bat,
conversation, all I need to know is there's like really like 2 variations here. There's multiple versions, but there's only 2 real big variations. There's a standard version of Persona 3, which has 3D environments for everything, like walking around a little bit more what you're familiar with if you played more of the recent ones. And then there's Persona 3 Portable, which is this version, which there is still the 3D dungeon Tartarus, where you walk around. It's like, procedurally generated. But everything else is presented in 2D like a visual novel. You kind of like mouse cursor over everything to interact. And some still images, they had to use like a screen cap of 3D because they didn't like draw that one out. But yeah, it plays a little bit differently. So you're not trying to like walk around and get immersed in there. It's more about as I said, it's very much like a visual novel in that regard.
Yeah, I played half of FES, I guess how you say it, and I played all of it on the portable one. I think I like FES more just because you get to walk around in those environments. I really like that.
Oh yeah,
but it definitely felt just like more streamlined and convenient, I guess.
That's the thing. If you've already played Persona 3, this one it's very streamlined. So if you're just trying to like get that level of enjoyment out of it, like a refresher, this one's really good. Also, it's very good to play on the go because you can pretty much get through things so quickly that you feel like you can accomplish a little bit more in a shorter amount of time. even though this is a very long game. Just
Yes,
a heads
it
up.
is. It is a long
If
game.
you're familiar with the recent ones, this one still might be a little bit short. It might be the shortest of the of 3, 4, and
yeah,
5. But
I think
it's
so.
still like
It's
about
still meaty.
40 hours ish at least
Yeah.
if you're gonna go through it. Yeah.
Tell me, so I think about, it's been a long time since I've played this game. I'm thinking about two things always.
Sure.
Tartarus, which I hate, but let's talk about the cast and the bond, like the link system
Yeah.
in this game. How is all this, because
So,
like, how does
yeah.
this hold up now?
Yeah. So, not having Huber here to how much he loves 5.
Yes.
Talk about bonds. This for me is the 3 cast.
Yeah.
You spend so much time with this cast. The core cast is there from the beginning, but you don't get to fight with everyone from the beginning either. So they do kind of like slowly introduce you to everyone. And
Because you're in a dorm room, right?
So yeah, you have your own dorm. You're spending time together as kids at a high school. So you come home every day and you can interact with everyone. In fact, that's part of like the gameplay loop is there's a mechanic about requests you can do later on, and some of those are like you got to talk to people to figure out stuff. So like you want to spend your time talking with everyone, so you really get to know. And there's not a ton of characters in this game in general, like because especially the portable version feels a little bit more like condensed and smaller. So it feels more intimate. It feels like you really get to know everyone, including the side characters. And
Right.
I really like their dynamic there. Again, for this version, you can pick the male or female protagonist. Slightly different perspective stuff depending on who you pick. The male's like the OG version of the game.
Right.
Female has some like new things that weren't in the original or FES version. And yeah, I like remember how Huber was telling me he doesn't want Persona 5 to end. Like he wanted to keep going. I was always like, it ended for me. This is
the one for
this is
you?
the one where like I started a second playthrough and like I'm at 80 hours.
Damn,
It's like-
dude.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I want to keep going. Like I like this line. I don't think I'll do a third one, but like
So 3's your favorite out of those? Out of like
yeah, I love
3, 4, 5?
I think it has the second best music of this series. It has the most unique music. And Persona 5 is very like the jazz remix vibes. And it's kind of like uniform, and I like that. This
is like very hip hop and stuff.
and it's got a lot of it's got some cool mixes in there. It's very unique, and I really like that. Again, the cast. I like. So we got to clear some air in the room.
Yes.
This game has some problems as a product of its time.
Okay.
And 2 of the voice actors for this game, one of them's like not really being hired by anyone anymore, and the other one also isn't really being hired by anyone anymore. So it's a little weird going back and hearing 2 characters, especially Junpei. I love that character.
Okay.
But he's voiced by Vic, you know who. And
I don't know the whole story with him, but it's okay. You don't have to
don't
get
need to
we don't
get
have to
into
go
it.
over
Don't
all
need to
of
get
it,
into it,
yeah.
but like I felt a little bit
People
of
that
that.
know.
You know how people like have trouble consuming stuff because
I get the idea.
So the whole game is not just him, so that kind of
course,
helped.
yeah.
And I really like the character of Junpei, but like
he's your Yosuke, he's your Ryuji character, your bro.
So it was a little weird because it's been like 10 years since I gone back to that character, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be interesting. But like, still good voice work though from everybody. And that doesn't change the fact that these characters like get together very well. They form these really good bonds. And if you don't like someone, you can just like stop spending time with them. That's the beauty of this game. You have all these relationship trees, and they build up your arcana. You unlock like an arcana with them, and that's what you use to when you fuse personas in this game. You get like a bonus the higher your relationship level is. So like with Yukari, it's the lovers. So the higher that is, any persona that's gonna be fused up, you have the lovers class will get like extra bonus EXP. Will get they inherit stuff as well when you fuse personas. So there's a whole dynamic going on there. So the bonds carry over into the gameplay as well, really nicely.
Yeah.
And the best part about this game, and I think all the Persona games, is that on your first playthrough, it feels like it slowly eases you into all of your activities that you can do, and eventually you feel like I can't do everything, and like that's the point. You can't. This is like they're trying to emulate your real life. Like you can't be in 2 places at once. You have to pick what's most important to you, and I kind of like that about this.
Totally. I agree. I like that. I know a lot of people don't like that because people have like, I need to collect everything brain on their playthroughs.
Right.
I have to see everything no matter what kind of thing. But I always did respect that about Persona.
I love wanting to spend time studying to get better in academics so I can do better on the exams because then you get like rewards.
Yeah, you want to get those stats up, dude.
And then like you approach a character like a Mitsuru, she won't even give you the time of day unless you're like a ranked genius, which is maxed at academics. Yukari won't talk to you either unless like you're a certain level of your stats as well. So they have that going on. You like really want to shoot for
addictive.
that. And I think the stories are pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about. So you're going through. You're raising your bond level with them. What are they called again in the game? Your meter with them, whatever. It's like your friendship meter that goes up.
Yeah, it's just like it says rank. Yeah, it's just like it has 10 levels.
But you get to know like this character's like story as you level up through them. How were the stories for these characters that you went through all the way with?
Yeah, they're pretty interesting.
Pretty good. Do they hold up pretty well?
Yeah, I think they did a decent job of passing them off as like high schooler mentality.
Yeah,
they're probably a little bit more mature than most high schoolers probably. But they still have the same kind of concerns. Now. This is funny. I love this game to death. But man, interacting with some characters, you have to like pick like the worst answers to get like because it's their personality to get the best reactions out of them.
Yeah.
For example, there's a side character called Kenji, a student. And
I know that is.
Okay, so again, this game, product of his time, he's trying to start a relationship with a teacher.
Yeah.
And you're trying to give him advice.
Yeah.
And if you give him the advice about don't do it, he gets angry with you. Yeah. But when you give him encouragement, the game's like, yeah, you're doing it. I was like, okay, I see here.
I think that's part of Persona is like, you got to tell the characters what they want to hear.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Right.
You have to tell them what they want to hear, and it goes some places for sure. So yeah, I feel like sometimes you have to be like bad or the asshole, and then you're rewarded for it. And then I think the worst thing that happens if you give bad things, like it just prolongs your bond, deepens your relationship, deepens with that character.
So since it's you're exploring in a more visual novel kind of aspect in a lot of the areas that the areas outside of the school and the dorm like that, do you feel like you missed or you lost something in that transition? Like were you exploring these areas a lot and just kind of like, just like you're moving your little cursor around?
So I will say this: I have not played through the OG Persona.
Okay.
And I have FES, but I just like played a little bit of it.
Okay.
So I haven't played through the 3D one, so I can't fully say how much I've lost. I can only do the frame of reference as I played through 4 and 5, and I know how much that adds. So and I can imagine how much it adds in 3. But I think for someone who is familiar with it, it was nice to kind of like really quick. You can there's so many things you can do. You can just try and figure out where everything is, like not quite pixel hunting, but there's no icons on the screen, so like what can I interact with? It's kind of fun. You can hit a button and then it highlights everything that could be interacted with, like kind of like Final Fantasy VII activating like the arrow so you know where you can go on the map. Yeah. So it has that, and then there's a quick menu we could bring up that shows you everywhere you can go within that zone, like that part of town. And just quickly like go to it. So like they really streamlined it, and it's so nice.
Yeah.
And because you're spending so much time in these, it's like a calendar year roughly you're spending there. It's kind of nice to be able I think like the first month I'd probably all right, let's move along. Like unless you're giving me a new area.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
yeah. So because you talked about like the Tartarus and stuff, but is that the only like dungeons and battles as Tartarus, or there's unique dungeons?
So there's not. I want to call them dungeons, but the concept of this game is you're trying to defeat these 12 shadows, and every full moon you have a mission you have to go to defeat a shadow. And those missions sometimes are straight up either just put you in front of a boss fight, or there's a little sequence. I'd call them like barely a mini dungeon. Like there's one early on where it's probably the most involved dungeon. It's like a love hotel. And you go through 2 floors, and there's like 1 or 2 enemies. You can like enemies appear on screen, and you can do the whole thing, like hit them from behind and get advantage. They see you, they can hit you, blah blah blah. You go through there, get to the boss, and then there's like a second part after where you have to like figure out like a kind of a puzzle thing. That's probably like the most involved. One is just like a stretch of underground, like 2 corridors, and then you're at the boss. And there's like one.
Yeah, it's super basic.
There's like the first one's like you're in a train and you're just moving up corridors, and then you you fight like an enemy each time. But Tartarus is like the meat and bones of like the dungeon stuff.
Yeah.
There really isn't anything else.
You're just
like
climbing a giant tower of blood through the whole
Persona
game.
5 was the first one to do those types of like proper dungeons on top of like the
Like 4 had some like theming a little bit,
Yeah.
but nowhere near like 5 was when they really like
Got it.
here's this crazy
Yeah.
like layout, distinct layout, really theming. You know, you got the first one's like what the castle or whatever.
yeah.
You got the chandeliers
the
jumping across.
volleyball coach.
Five's
yeah.
the first one that really went into that big time.
Got it.
Yeah. Tartarus is broken up into like blocks of floors.
It's like what 10
and they're each
floors?
themed. So the first one's
Kind
like,
of.
Yeah, the first one's like demonic, like high school. Like it's like green, like a green filter placed over like high school hallways. It gets more like elaborate as you go up, but it's not. Even does the thing of like it only shows you so far ahead because of like I don't know if it's like the limitation of the original version of the game or that's what they intended for it, but Tartarus is it's like a dungeon crawler.
Yep.
And
floor by floor.
and it goes on for a long time.
Yeah,
and
long time.
I mean, if you don't enjoy the battle system, I don't know how much enjoyment you're going to get out of like Tartarus. The good thing is you only have to hit certain milestones within like a window of time, and then you can ignore Tartarus. Like you don't.
Yeah.
You just have to reach a certain height by certain times. Otherwise,
Do your homework,
yeah.
get through that.
Yeah.
Then you're good.
And but also you want to make sure like your characters like are leveled
Strong
and
enough,
stuff because
yeah.
like enemies will get like tougher if you
Right.
don't do that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a balancing act there. But you really, if you know what you're doing, you really don't have to spend that much time in there if you don't like it.
Let's talk about the combat. So
yeah.
this version, the portable version, you can control your party members
Yeah.
freely.
You-
I remember in the FES one, you couldn't really.
Correct.
So you just kind of rely on bad AI sometimes, which sucked.
They have in the little spin wheel of what you can the rotary phone style interaction of your commands. You can go to tactics, so you can switch every single party member to act freely or direct command or something. You can give them more stuff, but
Yeah.
like direct command's nice because it feels like a more like old
Traditional,
school.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely another one I felt like sometimes my AI would just do something dumb and it'd get me killed.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if they don't know any better, they usually start off with like a trademark move. Like, each persona user, their personas are usually have like an elemental. Like Yukari's is wind. So the first thing that you usually will do is cast a wind ability on an enemy. And if that enemy is not vulnerable, like if they can block it, then they will know don't attack with that again.
Right.
So they'll go through a process of elimination of trying out moves. But they're not very competent on act freely. You really should just put it to direct command so you have that level of strategy. And for remedial stuff where you think you just breeze through, there's like the rush auto battle thing.
Right, yeah.
You hit that, everyone will
Right.
just auto attack real quick, and you'll get through a battle like very quickly.
If you like wipe on a fight or something, does it just send you back to your save or can you retry?
This I want to give a shout out to this version. This is the best version for difficulty options and customization. First version that is doing this. Originally, depending on your difficulty, certain rules would apply. Like I think on like the easy difficulty, you got an item that would let you immediately retry a battle.
Yeah.
But if you could burn through those, you could sometimes retry from a floor, or you could just like straight up game over your last save.
Yeah. Soul Hackers 2 did this as well. And one of the things they would do is like when you went into a tough battle, it's like, you could use the item and basically keep the battle going, but it would also do like an auto save right before the battle. So you really didn't lose that much other than the progress of the battle itself.
Okay, I see. This most of in Tartarus, every boss fight, that floor has a portal you can activate that sends you back down to the lobby. So you can essentially hard save before every boss.
Cool.
So, but this version, you can tweak a lot of modifiers. For one, you can set infinite retries on all battles. So like even if you die, you just instantly like full heals, full like restores everybody. So if you really just like or don't want to deal with stuff,
Do you mean like
you can't
reset the battle though?
No.
Or just like
it's basically like using a like auto Phoenix down.
Okay.
On everybody or auto elixir, like a mega elixir.
Yeah, okay, got it.
And everyone's revived as
It's
well.
like those Final Fantasy ports on like PlayStation.
Catch is that this works on most things, but there are some optional tough things in this game that are kind of puzzle-like. in terms of how you beat them.
Yeah.
This will not get you through those. You cannot
Right.
cheese do that. So they found a way to preserve that.
Yeah, I think Soul Hackers 2 is the same
Yeah.
way. Like there's certain fights that are optional where you had to do it in a certain number of
Yes.
turns, or they would just wipe you no matter what.
Yeah, this game still preserves those difficult. It has I can't say what specifically it is. I mean, it's already in the game, so you know what it is, but I can't say the word. But that super boss is notorious because it's no matter how much you know what to do, you still need RNG on. Like you need luck. Like it absolutely requires luck to beat it, and like. Tried it once, like, yeah, I'm not doing this again ever.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But the other part of it, the other modifier is the EXP modifier. You can crank up how much experience you get.
Oh.
And I absolutely did it. So for people who don't want to grind a lot,
Yeah.
I love
You
that.
don't wanna
That
grind.
was
Cool.
that was really nice because
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to spend a lot of time in Tartarus. I just want to like put my time in progressing.
Well, what's like what is it, like 2 times XP?
It's just like less like normal or more.
Yeah.
It's kind of like ambiguous. I wish it would give like a hard
Doesn't
number.
Tales do that if you're on harder difficulties?
A lot of games like usually give you like more rewards for higher difficulty, but this you could put to like they even
Easy,
have
but
like a
get the-
beginner difficulty.
Okay, they really
have
want you
5
to
difficulties.
yeah.
I think you could put it on beginner, set like max EXP gain, and then set like infinite retries, and like you're not gonna have to worry about anything in this game. I mean, it takes a little bit of the fun. I think the sweet spot for me was normal difficulty. Retrying a floor. Like, so if you wiped on a floor, you started back in that floor, and because it's procedurally generated, it would like the floor change. So it's like you can't just like game it again. Like, you have to explore again. And then I cranked up the experience. I was like, I want more
If you don't want to
experience
grind,
on this.
it's totally fine.
Yeah.
So, I guess would you recommend this to people who have just played Persona 5?
Yeah, I think if you haven't played this one, if you played either 4 or 5, you should definitely play this one, especially if you are. There's a little bit of a nod to 4 in this one. If you play the female protagonist, there's a sequence there
Okay.
with a little bit of a nod. If you get to a certain part, but otherwise, yeah, it's you kind of see like a little bit of the roots, the
Yeah.
origins of where this is coming. Because
Birth of Persona as we know
3
it.
is I think 3 has set the series on
It
its
did.
current trajectory.
Yep, it did.
Yeah, if you go before that, you're gonna find something a little bit different than what you've expected from 4 and 5. I really like the cast. I love the setting for this.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the side characters in this. This game is very while it has its happy moments, it's also very like
Oh, yeah.
depressing.
Yeah.
I would say like the theme of this game is like death and loss.
Yeah.
And how you like cope with like dealing with that. I also, without spoiling anything, this has hands down the best ending of the Persona series. This is the best ending of any Persona game, in my opinion, and one of the best JRPG endings. Like it's really freaking good.
I think the Fez has like extra stuff that's not in this game. I'm not exactly sure, but I think there's some differences in
so
that.
Fez has something post ending, and I won't get into it, but there's basically like an extra, I think, month or two, but it's all gameplay. There's no exploring. It's just like it's another dungeon thing.
Okay.
And it gives you, and there's a lot of debate over whether it was necessary or not. Yeah.
Yeah, this has been it's a very tricky thing to pick which version of the game, I guess, they would include.
Yeah, especially given the rumors of there's like a Persona 3 remake coming, like
Yeah.
a full-blown remake
Yeah, dude.
happening. And people saying
Maybe that's where they make better dungeons. I don't know.
and
That's
insiders are saying
Hope
like
so.
it won't include the female protagonist or
Yeah,
any
that's
of like
weird.
their content, which is a little weird. Yeah, and again, Persona games, like I really enjoy them. I have to say this, a little bummed out they didn't take this opportunity to clean up a certain sequence in the game as well. There's a beach scene. It's always the damn beach scenes. A little bit of a transphobia in there that they didn't clean up, and it's like they made changes to some of the options that could have like changed that line of dialogue, but
Sure.
didn't do that. So it's still. I have to warn people if you're against that. That's
You're
still
sensitive to that, yeah.
still in the game at that point. Play a female protagonist. That scene not in there whatsoever.
Stuff like that's always tricky too because it's like the context of it is like people are messy, and so like not every character is gonna be like your ideal, right? Like, like that doesn't necessarily mean that's what the writers promote or stand by. But it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, you're separating
but
the
this
character.
guy's just that way. it's kind of it's kind of a character flaw, but I don't know.
I could see flaws in, like, you're writing a character to have flaws and stuff like that. I can understand that. I don't know, the circumstance you're talking about,
but it is
it's playing into a
it's playing into
a trope. It's playing into
Got
a
it.
trope that does it does more harm than anything. So like kind of a little bit it's not a little bit. It's just inexcusable. But I think and then a lot of like student teacher shit. Like, age difference stuff is still going on here.
Yeah.
So those two things are pretty much the big red flags, side eye about, remember this came out in like the 2000s.
Yeah, I think if you want changes like that, that would be more in the remake if they're doing that department, maybe. And I don't know.
And I definitely think the female protagonist perspective, there's less of that. So if you want to go that route.
Sure, yeah. Reptile Scorpio wrote in, "Howdy, allies. I'm so pumped to finally return to Persona 3 as a whole 15 years since FES. Do you think we are missing anything with Atlas porting the PSP release rather than the FES? Feels weird that we don't have access to both. I wish it was both.
It is a little weird that there is no like uniform version.
Yeah.
Like I could point. I mean,
yeah, but it's just like if they're doing that remake, maybe that
could be it.
If they are, we don't know. But
yeah, and it's not like. And again, FES has substantial extra story content. Whether you think it's good or bad is a whole different matter. But like, it's just not present. In this. So it's not really the complete version. You'd really like to see those types of complete versions, like Final Fantasy IV, the complete collection on PSP, which, I'd love that to be ported over to Switch or something. They got the Pixel remaster, but I'll take a port of that version any day. Because
you like the visuals of that one the most, right?
But also, like, even though I don't like the after years and the little like intercool story, just having them there, like, I just want to remember, why did this suck again? Oh yeah, I played 10 minutes. Oh yeah, this writing is so bad. Yeah, there we go. But just show it off, like it's just there to have.
I never played the after years, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I only played the DS version.
DS version is pretty good. Like people think it's the hardest version of the game.
It was hard, dude.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the hardest, but I know that like there's so many tweaks with difficulty on that game that it's kind of insane to sort of sort out. I think the Japanese version was harder than that. But then the US original version was like really toned down, except the ending has always got a huge spike. But yeah, so like DS was more of a middle ground.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
It's also hard to judge when you played it so much and you know what to do. So it's like,
that's
you get
fair.
to that version.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, like regardless of version of Persona 3 you're playing, just know that you have a dog character named Koro.
Yes, you do.
Who fights with you.
Yes.
So you have like it looks like a little bit like Amaterasu.
I definitely used them.
Hell
Absolutely,
yeah.
I did.
And it talks with you and understands.
I always
you.
use like weird party members like that. There's another weird party member but I use, but we won't talk about them if you don't know them. Cool. That's coming out soon. From when we're shooting, I don't remember.
This
week.
Okay, and
the 18th or 19th.
Persona 4 Golden also
Friday. Yeah, and P4 Golden coming to every other platform that hasn't come out on yet,
and on Game Pass. So if you got it, I'm curious. Check them out.
Yeah, Persona 4 is one of those games that like I bought on PS2 and then never cracked open.
I did, yeah. I believe that. I waited for Golden.
Yeah.
I felt like, yes. Glad I waited, dude. All right. Next game. I've been playing this. I've been excited for this one for a while. It's One Piece Odyssey.
Yeah. Dude, it's so funny because I have no context for One Piece, but like I've like sort of been interested and excited about this game because it just seems like a cool turn-based RPG.
That's what it is, blood.
With this,
it's cool.
Legendary story behind it.
Swimming in sevens, cool RPG. However, this game is absolutely made for people who are very invested in One Piece.
Oh, okay.
If you don't know shit about One Piece and you hop into this game expects you to know stuff. So if you're just like, I don't know what One Piece is, you're going to be thrown in and be like, I don't understand any of this kind of thing, what's going on. Like, you could still play it and like get through there, but you're gonna miss out on everything.
Do you think that does it a disservice by doing that? Or do you think...
kind of. I actually kind of really like it because I think my opinion is I like things kind of like that are long going things and they just like respect you if you've gone through them all. Like Kingdom Hearts, it's like you hop into Kingdom Hearts 3, 2 or whatever, I think if you hop into any of them besides maybe Birth by Sleep or 1, you're gonna be like, what is happening?
But is this retreading plot points, or are you just returning to familiar areas?
So it's a weird thing of Blood of there's a new island you're on, new story. The creator's involved in the story, by the way.
Yeah.
So but then the crew loses a lot of their abilities from someone, takes away their abilities, and the only way to get them back is to revisit past things they've done. So you're going to past locations like Alabasta is a place, it's like a desert, like Egypt kind of kingdom.
Right.
It's like the first place you go to. It's pretty earlier on in One Piece also. So you go through a lot of the steps that were in the series, but your characters remember like, hey, this thing is different. We did this stuff this way, kind of thing like that. But you definitely go through the arc of what they did in the original thing. Like, we're going to fight this guy here at the end. This is the end boss of this arc. So we're going to do there. We beat him. That part's done. So it's definitely a retreading, I would say.
But like you're saying, it helps that you're familiar with
Oh
those
yeah,
things.
100%.
Already.
Yeah, because there's like little tiny there's like more little nods and stuff like that you'd only get if you've actually read it or watched it when it was in real time. But
Are you playing with Japanese cast or English cast?
yeah, it's Japanese, I think, right default.
Okay.
Right off the bat. I think there is English though, but like I've never really even heard One Piece in English.
Yeah, no, I know. At least back in the day,
I saw
from
some of the
people
4Kids dub.
People were like, "This is like one of the worst localizations."
Yeah,
in
it was
history
bad.
Of man.
Or Blood, because they changed a lot of stuff
Yeah.
like visually for it. Like one of the characters smokes a cigarette all the time.
Right.
But in the 4 dub one, he had a lollipop. And it's just like
Oh yeah.
they had like toy guns. I think the Marines in the game and like the show. I don't know. It was all insane madness kind of thing. It's like
a lot of 4Kids stuff.
Yeah, a lot of 4Kids stuff did
of
madness like
censor
this.
stuff, yeah.
But yes, dude. Okay, this game reminds me of a Tales game.
Okay.
It's Bandai.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Tales game. There's some smaller areas, like I'd say the beginning of the game you start off an island, it's kind of small, kind of limited where you're going. But then you get to like Alabasta, and there's like a huge desert. There's like bigger zones you're actually going through. It reminded me of like what was the most recent Tales game? Why can't
Arise?
Arise, yeah. Running through like a little area in Rise. Maybe not as like involved sometimes as Arise, but it's like a big open spot. There's stuff to do. There's side quests to do and stuff like that. But the best part about the game, dude, turn-based combat, dude. The turn-based combat of this game is sick. Really fun,
Nice.
dude. So you have, at the beginning of the game, you have multiple straw hats. You have, I think, 7 right off the bat. You could swap them in and out anytime you want in
nice.
combat. You can, so like, whoever's up, let's say
wow. That's
Luffy's
nice.
on the deck. I got Luffy on deck. I want to switch him out for Chopper, okay? Switch out Luffy for Chopper. Totally fine. Then actually, if I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to swap Chopper out, actually. In the same turn, swap someone else back in. So you could swap as many times as you want in
is
turn.
cool.
So different characters on a turn you could swap out, or just that one slot you could swap out.
You could swap out that. So on each
But I'm guessing once you've taken an action, then that person's locked
in for
Yeah.
that
Yeah, yeah.
spot.
Okay,
Yes, but the
okay.
next turn you could swap anyone in. So how it works is
It's
usually
like Final Fantasy X. I think of like that.
I haven't played 10 in a long time, so it's hard for me to
Well,
say.
you have like 3 active characters, and whenever
You have
it's a
4 this time.
whenever it's a character's turn, anyone who's in reserve can swap out for that character. And you keep swapping them in and out until
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they take an action.
Yes,
when they take action,
yes,
then they're
yes,
locked in.
yes,
until
that's
the
how it
next
works,
rotation.
yeah.
Okay.
But what's cool, what I like about this combat is there's like different areas of where you're fighting. It's not just like, hey, Dragon Quest, here's your 4 characters and here's 4 characters you're fighting against, or characters you're fighting against. Fights are often like in different groups. So
Okay.
like, let's say you got your person in position 1, who's Luffy, okay? Luffy, he's got like 3 Marines by him. Then we got Zoro in a different position. He's got no one by him. He can go over to there and fight with you and join Luffy in that group.
Okay.
Or, so it's like if there's a type of guy you want to fight in a different area, you're like, maybe I want to get this character to try to get them over there to help fight out. But it's like once you clear out, like if you're Luffy and you clear out the group, you're free to send Luffy to anywhere you want to fight other guys. But there are some moves, limited though, but you can like break that rule. So like Luffy has one attack where he can attack anyone on the field. Doesn't matter where he's at. But you can't do all of his attacks. Like some attacks you can only do close in your little area, or you can only hit one guy, but some do multiple hits.
Okay.
So you're swapping around a lot, and each character, there's like 3 types. There's a rock, paper, scissors mechanic in the game. So like Luffy is like a power type. There's like power, there's like, which is red, then there's like a long distance one, which is orange, and there's a sword one, which is green. Certain characters are better against certain things, like Pokemon. Certain things are better than, but they're weak to other things. So like Luffy, who's strong, is good against the more ranged characters, but he's weak to the sword characters. And your characters also have those stats, so you're wanting to switch around characters to attack specific enemies that they're weak to.
Okay.
Because like if you hit a guy who's who is like the opposite of you, or in the sense of you are weak to them, you won't do much damage to them at all. But if you use their attack that's the weakness, you're gonna do a lot more damage. It's like Persona, where it's like, you want to use their weakness against them big time in combat.
Is there any like reward though for explaining the weakness other than more damage? Like, can you like knock people over? Or
So
anything like that? Or is it
there's some things like that. Like you obviously do way more damage. Like I mean a lot more damage. Where it's like I want to do this. So your basic attacks you can use to hit him, but it won't do as much damage. But you'll get some TP back to do your special abilities. So you want to do that. But if you do your normal attacks sometimes, there's a chance it can hit a guy and send him flying and hit another enemy. So it'll do like splash damage and put him in a different area.
Okay. Do these battles take a little bit of time? Because they sound a little bit more elaborate. Because you're talking about like there's different. You can send people to different zones.
I think when you're figuring it out at first, you're just understanding like you're like looking at everything and saying like, okay, this is my group. I'm like when I was figuring out like the layout of the design of what characters are where, what does this mean? I'm like, me just figuring out the combat all together took me a little bit, but once I did, I was like, oh no, fights are pretty chill. Some of the boss fights can be kind of long, but never too long.
Yeah, I was
ever.
curious because
Never.
like, how you come across enemies in like the first desert zone.
Yeah.
Like, could it drag on because of the scale of these battles?
No, they don't really drag on that much. Because they're all in the field also walking around like a Tails game. You can see them. If you hit them from the back, you get an advantage in battle. Like, your first hit with everyone may crit or something like that. So, you definitely want to get those advantages. But if they get you from the back, you're at a disadvantage too.
You know what I want, Brad?
Yes.
We've been talking about like hitting characters from back forever as an edge. I want a game where you hit them in the front, you get an advantage because like it's like intimidation. Like you smack, they're not expecting you to come walk up and like bash them in the head.
Yeah, what character would do that? I wonder.
Dude, like a big like tank character or whatever, like big axe. This is like Hubert bait. Like
Guts.
just walks up there, like charges. You're like so use a sprint plus attack. That like if you get that off in front, it's just like intimidation.
Yeah.
So everyone
Very cool.
like maybe everyone's too scared to act on the first turn.
Yeah,
or
maybe you cause a flinch or something.
Yeah.
Also in combat, you have normal items, like healing items and all that good stuff. But you can also cook items like food to give you like more healing. That'll like heal the whole party, but it'll also give you a buff or something like that, like nice buffs. And you can make these little rumble balls, which are like Usopp's thing. You can use balls on these guys, and they'll give them debuffs. So they take 25% more damage for 3 turns. So you're making these kind of things in camp, and like you don't really have to use them on anything except maybe boss fights. I was using them, which I think is fine. Like in the boss fights, like the big boss fights, I was like, okay, I'm using food now. I've made this food. I got these balls. I'm gonna actually start using them, and it definitely helped and paid off.
Is there any kind of like economy in
the
there's
game
money. Is it just for like ingredients and materials, or do you buy gear?
Like, you don't buy new weapons or anything like that. You don't buy like new chess piece or anything like that. There are accessories you can get.
Okay.
You have like a slot. It's almost like an RE case, Damiani. You have like a slot thing, and you can put things in there.
Gotcha.
And as you get through the game, it expands more. But some pieces are different shapes.
Figured with like iconic characters like that, they're not gonna let you go around changing like.
No, you're not gonna like change like a brand new. Like, you're not gonna get a new sword for Zoro. It's like the weapons he has are very deliberate, part of the story. But those accessories I'm talking about, later on you can fuse them together to like make even more powerful ones and all that good stuff.
Yeah, sounds pretty standard.
So you're going around these areas, you're fighting guys. This is my favorite part of one of my favorite parts of the game, dude. Is there are triple techs, dude. There are sick team attacks you can learn.
Okay.
So throughout some of the areas,
Heck yeah.
there's some story events you go through. You'll do these like story events. They're very designed for very specific characters. Like only 3 characters can go in there. You don't get to choose. It's part of the story. And it's just like they're there together. They have to do this quest in there. But at the end of these things, you get a sick triple attack with all these people. So like the first one I got was Usopp, Chopper, and Zoro. And they would all just do a sick attack together that would like hit this guy super hard, like really hard single target damage. Then I got one later on that did, like huge AoE damage. But it's all cool stuff if you like if you know the series and you're like, okay, I kind of understand these characters. Like characters show up that you haven't seen in a little bit, and you're like, oh, sick.
Is it something you have to build up to in a battle, or how does it work?
There's a bond gauge.
Okay.
By doing actions in combat, like certain actions, it'll raise up. And to do these like triple tech ones, you have to have like a certain meter. You have to have like 4 of the bond meter. I think you can go to like 8 or something like that.
Okay.
Or some you'll have to have 6 to be able to do it.
Okay. Is it like a vertical bar or horizontal?
It looks like their Jolly Roger symbol almost, like the skull and stuff like that. You can just kind of see it go up. And
okay. Yeah, this is Bandai Namco game. RPGs do this a lot, like the multiple meters and like spending them for like type of like.
But you can also use the meter with anyone for one tier of the meter.
Okay.
You'll be able to do attack on anyone on the field. So if you're like, okay, I need this person who's great against strength people to hit this guy.
Gotcha.
I can use this one ability, but it'll burn a meter.
And for the triple tech, party members could be any position. Like they don't have to be like,
as long as they're just
on
like
in
the
a
field.
triangle.
No. As long as they're just on the field.
Cool.
Yeah, there's no like placement kind of thing like that.
I didn't know how far.
Or where they are. Yeah, you're not moving around. They are where they are kind of thing. But I found it really cool because one of the boss fights I was in, he was like, my guy that he was targeting in this area was very weak to what he was doing.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I'm getting shredded. So I was healing through it a little bit, and I was like, I wonder if I could switch him with another party member who's stronger against that guy. And I could. I was like, oh, sick.
There you go. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's just an extra little tactical level I liked of just knowing when to put someone where. And it's very forgiving. Like I said, if you put someone there, but you can switch them back out easily.
That's pretty cool. Earlier when you said a character might be by themselves in the field, do you have to send them to a spot or can they remain isolated?
They can remain isolated if you use specific abilities that they can have to hit people farther away. So like...
basically I'm trying to say, like, could you send someone to an empty spot to like heal up and recover, like, or...
No, you can't like send.
Game kind of forces you to like go to where the enemies are.
If you're in an area with someone and you killed everyone around there, now they're there by themselves. You can have them attack from a range still if they have abilities that allow them to do that.
All right, and if they don't,
but if they don't, you have them move up there.
All right.
But then if they move up there, they're going to be susceptible to the attacks of the other person.
When they move up, they can't go back, right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool.
Correct. Unless they switch with a different person who's in an empty spot.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
But it's like. Sometimes you want, like most of the time you want to get him up there just so you can do way more abilities to do way more damage. Because like Zoro, for instance, he only has one, I have like 12 abilities or something like that. He only has one where he can do from like far away.
Gotcha.
So most stuff I want to get him up there. But some characters are better at long range, like Usopp has like a slingshot. So all that good stuff.
Any good collectibles?
So there's stuff you do... kind of like there's collectibles, I guess, like food and items and money you get like that, but certain straw hats are better or can only get certain things. So like Luffy can stretch really far so he can grab stuff far away. Zoro has swords so he can cut through like iron bars.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if you used any of their powers out in the world.
Yeah. Chopper is small so he can crawl through little areas and do stuff. And like Nami, she loves money, so she can like find money better. And Sanji can find recipes better. And
she
Robin
just finds money better.
Yeah, it's like if you're running around
what an ability
with the character, she'll like say something. If you switch to her, you can like grab the ability. Because like you could switch to any character you want when you're on the field. If you're like, I just want to play as this character the whole time, you can just run around as them pretty much the whole time. So a lot of freedom.
Chad, if you have the ability to find money better, head to patreon.com/easyallies.
That's right. Yeah. Some of the dungeons are pretty cool. Like, they're not, like, super crazy involved, but there's some where it's, like, there was one I did where it was, like, kind of rotating stuff like that, so I was having to, like, hit some switches and flip some stuff and go back. That's cool. Some sort of thing, like, kind of involved. Not, like, super crazy involved, but it's something there enough to, like, diversify it.
Talk about ship sailing.
No ship sailing.
Oh!
Yeah. I have not sailed on the ship. Your ship is, like, half underwater at this point.
Okay.
But, I mean, I want to sail around big time.
All right.
But
I don't know if there's anything like that. Okay.
Yeah. I would say this game is really good at as an RPG, turn-based RPG, dude, like we're swimming. I'm having a good time. It's not like crazy or anything like that, but I'm enjoying it. But I think this game does a really good job of capturing the spirit of One Piece and these characters. Like there's like camps you can go to and throw a party there with everyone, like celebrating and all that stuff. The character move animations like really good in combat, like really awesome. I'm super impressed with a lot of them. Like seeing Luffy do like crazy Gatling punches look really good. Zoro's all his stuff. Everyone looks really awesome. Like Robin has one move. It's from like if you've seen the anime or read the manga, she can like make hands come out of it in different areas. So she'll do like a ball grab on a guy, and they're weak. They'll be weak to it. And it's just like it's fun nods if you've like been in the series and you're part of it. Like yeah, you could have fun probably just playing through it. You won't know a lot's going on, but it's like the combat I think is really fun still. But I'd highly recommend that you get caught up to at least a certain part. Not like all the way caught up, but pretty far. I would say you would enjoy the game much more. Much, much more. Question from Andreas Cleanthos. Hello, allies. I'm playing One Piece Odyssey now, and I really like it. My question is, do you think the turn-based style is a good way to go for anime games? It's a nice way of showing of moves, but it isn't as fast-paced as, let's say, Demon Slayer and as the Naruto Ninja Storm games. I mean, I always like turn-based games, so I'm always going to say yes.
Yeah. I think when you're talking about like the crazy attacks and stuff, and those animations they can put in,
getting time to show them off.
Yeah,
and I don't know how the balance of like RPG to like real-time action anime games are out there, but like feels like the last several Naruto games have all been real-time like fighting games style.
Yeah.
And they've done like they've been good. They've done enough of that. Like I would love to see turn-based Naruto next.
That's what I saw in this game. I was like, dude, turn-based One Piece game? Hell yeah.
Yeah, especially when you get like a large roster of characters. I mean, fighting game makes sense, but like RPG, it's like, you know, a lot of these games have like core crews and you just travel with them, and it sounds like they figured a good solution to swapping out the characters, basically taking like the Final Fantasy X system, which is really nice.
One thing I will say about this game, I think could annoy a lot of people, and it was affecting me a little bit, probably not as much as many other people, or as most, is like there'll be moments you're in a cutscene talking, you'll walk not very far, then you'll get in another cutscene. A lot of stuff like that.
Got it.
There's like a lot of talking, a lot of dialogue in this game. This is from Sizlak. Hey, allies. One Piece Odyssey looks like it could be a step up for anime games as a whole. So I'm interested to know, are there any anime or manga franchises you like to receive the AAA treatment? It might be an obvious pick, but my dream game, or my dream come true, would be From Software to cut to the chase and give us the Berserk game we deserve. Love and respect.
What's funny is I think that Square Enix actually has involvement with it, but Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. The PS2 games, right?
Yeah, they had games back in the day for sure.
I never played those. Were those good?
It's been a while. We played one of them on Group Stream a little bit way back.
I think I've played through both of them, but it's been like 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, if they're PS2 games.
Yeah, I played them on PS3 era, so they are okay, but definitely not like AAA, like what we're thinking.
Yeah. Like One Piece is a high budget game.
FMA is definitely deserving of getting that, like a sick game like that. And I think, RPG would be like really good too, or just like a real time action game would be like pretty sick.
I think turning most animes into RPGs would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Like Naruto and RPG, like they kind of did before, but like turn-based would be super awesome.
I think there's some on like portable stuff, right?
Yeah. They definitely have some that exists, but they're mostly known for being like fighting games.
Yeah, fighting games mostly.
Yeah.
It's like I know Dragon Ball Kakarot, was like different.
There was a PS2 only, PS2 Japanese only version of a Cowboy Bebop game.
Oh.
That someone did a fan translation for, which was pretty cool. It will translate into a movie basically, so people will watch it. But I mean, sick Cowboy Bebop game would be
hunts, dude, getting bounties.
That's something
I'd
love to see.
Yeah, and I'm a big Trigun fan. I haven't seen the new
Okay,
Trigun
I saw
yet.
the first episode. I liked it. It was cool. Speaking of bounties, there are bounties also in this game. I forgot to bring this up. There's like side quests you can do on the map. They're okay, There's like some characters you would see like recognize, but they're not like crazy blow you away. But it's fun. Like there's some fun nods with some of the bounty hunter guys.
I forgot to ask you the music. Is it any licensed music from the show, or is it all mostly original?
I think it's
music?
all original.
Okay.
I think so.
They've really been sticking to that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably a whole other.
Like Bandai
spiel.
Namco's pretty much been doing that nonstop.
Yeah.
Like they've never budged from that.
Yeah. I would love. I know there's a lot of Gundam games, but I want the Gundam game to break through big time.
Right.
Like I just need. They're
Yeah, 'cause
always
they
like
just
just
did-
kind of like smaller tier.
Yeah, they just did a few. But
They did
yeah,
Gundam Evolution stuff, but like, I want the big Gundam, like huge budget, huge backing, kind of thing. Make that turn-based, dude.
Yeah.
I'd take that. That'd be awesome.
The Robot Wars too, where they like mash them all together.
Yeah, it'd be so cool. Okay, this is from Zach Wojnar. I don't really follow anime. I've seen all of Cowboy Bebop, Perfect Blue, and the 2 Ghost of the Shell movies, but it's pretty much it. However, I think One Piece Odyssey looks really cool. Do you think I'll have a good time with the gameplay and story if I go in completely blind to the One Piece franchise? I think the gameplay is fun, definitely, but you will not appreciate nearly as much as someone who's actually involved with it, especially the story. You will just you just won't understand why a lot of this matters, or the bonds with characters. You won't really get it, or very intense or dramatic moments won't mean anything to you probably. So I would highly recommend to get involved with One Piece if you want to play it.
It's a little unfortunate as far as I understand. One Piece doesn't the games don't have a starting point which catches you like Ultimate Ninja Storm.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of it.
It goes through
if you've
the
never
series,
watched Naruto, you could just play the Ultimate Ninja Storm games.
One Piece
and
is
get,
far
the Cliff
too
Notes
big.
version.
One Piece is far too long for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely
Yeah.
Cliff Notes. It also trims out all the filler, so it's really
yeah.
nice. But also, that visual style
Mm-hmm.
just really feels like you're watching a 3D anime in motion. It's actually, it was like,
Yeah, it's
I was
nice.
I wouldn't mind if they did weekly releases.
Yeah,
And,
that's nice.
New episode, a 30-minute thing like this would be sick.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing like that. You got to read it or just watch it. That's probably your only options. Alrighty, Bloodworth, you've been playing Hindsight.
Yeah.
So I don't really know much about this game. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, I played through it the other night, and then I messaged Huber because Huber always wants to know about the sad games. Sad game alert,
I love
Huber.
sad games.
But yeah, it's just 2 hours or so.
Oh, okay. 2 hours.
Yeah, it's probably one of my outside picks for best game to play in one night because it's it's one of
Cool.
those things you just sit down, you play through it, and you
Yeah, that's
got it.
nice. 2 hours is nice.
But it's narrative driven. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a puzzle game, but it's you're kind of working your way through the story, and it's kind of about grief. It's about looking back over this character's life as they're going through the process of cleaning up their mother's house, after they passed away. So they're going through all of their childhood memories, and they even talk about that of it's how do you even know what's real when your perspective changes from when you were a kid to then when you're looking back and now I know better. I understand what my parents were going through or whatever in these moments that happened. But the way that it works is it's you're looking at these moments that are sort of frozen in time, and you kind of you rotate the camera and sort of take in the scene. And it's something that you do kind of want to go slowly. At first I was realizing I'm rushing this a little bit. It's let me take in this and not just look for the next thing to do. But you sort of rotate around until you find an object that's highlighted or whatever. Or sometimes you can sort of quote unquote move around an environment by you'll see transparent versions of your character and okay, click on that and there's another section to look in the room or whatever. But you look at an object and then you kind of rotate it until you start seeing through it. And so there's this kind of cool effect to where it'll become a window into a memory. And then you rotate it, and then you kind of pass through, and then now you're in another thing, and you find out more about it. So it's you pass through a set of keys, or you look up at the moon, and you rotate the moon, and you go through there, or butterflies or whatever.
Does it feel pretty smooth to just navigate all this stuff and move it around?
Yeah, because you're just moving the camera, really.
Okay.
So, and then sometimes there will be different things that you do interact with a little bit, like dragging a zipper or like with the moon, like you kind of shove the clouds out of the way to reveal that that's there. And it's not that hard to identify what to do. It's just kind of like, again, it's like you're figuring out like what's significant to her life and like what all has happened to this point. There are also parts where like you reveal like a space by like wiping off a window or like painting a wall and things like that. So it's light interactions, but things that kind of keep you in the moment of like what was going on here. There's one that's like piano keys as well, where you kind of play the piano, and then sort of like at the end of each chapter, you'll kind of like have this moment where it's like, okay, there are these like 3 or 4 different objects, and it's like, but like only one thing that you can like save to put in your suitcase.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of how like it goes in between the chapters, is because like once you complete a chapter, then you end up back in her apartment, and like the object that you took is like the thing that will transport you back, like if you wanted to replay a chapter.
Oh, okay.
On the desk, and then you'll be and then you can see other things that are like I might be getting mixed up a little bit, but you can see some of the things that you took like in her suitcase too after you took them. So it's interesting how that plays back and forth. But what I think is like, kind of the point and what's beautiful and what's interesting about this is it's just sort of, it's one of those things to where it's like, even if you haven't like kind of been in this situation and done it, it's like, it's so easy to like put yourself in these shoes.
Yeah.
It's like, it just like, it bypasses like, just like the character story into like you thinking about like, oh, okay, like, well, what happens when I have to do this, or what is it like, when I might have experienced these kinds of situations or whatever, and just the relationships between her and her father and mother, and it's just it's just a cool, like I said, sad game.
Yeah, sad game for sure. But I mean, it sounds good from what you're telling me, just kind of like discovering all this stuff, and going through that and figuring out what's important. Sounds really touching.
Learning about her heritage and like how her parents got together and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think I saw this game has like a nice art style from. I think I've seen this game before.
Yeah, it's kind of impressionistic in a way, to where it's like there's like things aren't super detailed.
Yeah.
But and it kind of had a staggered release. I think it like maybe first showed up, or maybe not first, but like I was first aware of it with like a Nintendo Indie Showcase, and that it came out on Switch, and then more recently it came out on Xbox or something like that. But,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to ask you more about it.
Yeah, because there's not like a lot more mechanically. It's just like the process of experiencing that story.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds really cool. I like the length sounds nice. I think that's probably a really great length for what the game is.
You never ever felt like confused with like the transitions? Like it was always pretty clear what was going on, so they did a good job with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of times where, I was like, looking through drawers and things, like trying to figure out, where an object, that they interact with might be, but like it's not like it's confusing or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds heavy, but like a good game worth checking out.
Does it have piano music?
Ooh.
Yeah,
you know it
for
does.
sure.
Yeah, you know it does.
Those keys.
You know it, dude. Okay. It's time for Sort It Out.
Oh, boy.
Just so you know, everyone at home, this is a segment where anything that annoys us in the gaming industry, anything going on, company, game itself, they just got to sort it out.
I forgot what I told myself to remember.
You had one?
What was
I
told you to remember, and you're like, no, you remember. No, I can't remember.
Yeah. I have enough trouble coming up with
What
my
were
own
we playing on? What were we playing on Thursday?
Thursday. What?
Stream
we were
team.
playing
This might help jog my memory.
Hunt Down.
Hunt Down.
We're playing Hunt Down.
And
There can't be much to sort out with Hunt
Yeah,
Down.
there's not
Come
gonna be
on.
much to sort out with
we're
Hunt
talking
Down.
about something else then. Or was it during the podcast? I don't remember. No, it was definitely during Hunt Down because it was you and me.
Yeah.
Shit.
Shit.
It was like options or something, I think. Something options. Well, anyway, if you guys got one, I'll keep thinking.
Okay. Let me think for a second. I'm like, what is Nintendo doing that I'm annoyed at, kind of thing right now.
It's funny because we haven't got to my game yet, but maybe I'll throw this in there. Midnight Suns. I'm going through these clothing options,
Yes.
and
They all suck.
they all suck.
Damn, dude.
It's sort of I don't care about you.
Sort it out.
Weird, lame T-shirt or hoodie or whatever.
Well, that's a valid complaint.
And there's a lot of stuff that's just kind of generic versions of people's masks and stuff. And nah, this doesn't really look good. That doesn't really look good. I've unlocked, so many things and I looked at it and nah, just keep with what I got.
Yeah. What is it, Damiani?
All right. Games that don't give you the option, specifically PC games, to have your controller active when it's not the active window anymore. It's dumbest shit ever if you don't give me an option to do that. Just because I click off and I want to do something, but then I want to move I need to go, I'm in the menu tweaking options, but I'm looking something up on the internet. It's for help. And then you go back to hit it. It's gotta get up, go. Especially you play on your couch and your mouse isn't right there. You're just playing with your controller. Come on,
man.
Come on. It should be standard by now.
Oh, I got one. This is a very specific example to me. No one can relate to this because it's very dumb, but it only annoys me. So, there is the rumor of the new Tears of the Kingdom Switch, Damiani. Have you seen this? Yeah. This is pretty much going to happen. I'm annoyed because I got an OLED 8 months ago or some shit. And I was like, okay, finally. Nothing's going to happen. We're this far in the Switch life cycle. They're not doing anything crazy. Little Nintendo always comes along with Zelda editions of other things like Wii U and 3DS, and I never get one. Always, because they always come out at a time when I already have one. It didn't come out with, I don't know if it came out with Ocarina of Time 3D or whatever, but there were some ones like that. I got screwed. The Wii U one came out later. The Wind Waker HD one, didn't get that. Mike Huber got it, though. So I always get screwed by this because when they release them, it's just please release them earlier in the life cycle so I can get one and not feel like a chump if I buy another one. Please. Please. Because I might buy this because I don't have any Zelda special edition things. Any of them. Any of the consoles. And it pisses me off, dude. Do you have any?
Yes.
Of course you do. You have probably all of them sealed, probably in box.
Because I learned that you don't get them. They go bye-bye, and then they
then they're $500
10 times the price or whatever. Thankfully, they're all on Amazon, so you could pay them off over time. So you have to buy them. So not paying right away.
Yeah.
So,
but it's new hardware.
Well,
it's coming.
To be fair, in the long run, I'm actually happy I have them because even though I don't really ever want to open them, I technically now have two new 3DS XLs.
Oh yeah.
Because those are two new 3DSs, whatever. They don't sell those anymore.
No.
And you can only get 2DS.
Yeah.
And the new 2DS, and that's going to be gone soon too.
Yeah.
So by buying these, I actually forced myself to have backups of some systems that it's not just a collector's investment. It's also it's the preservation angle.
Yeah, because it's who knows how backwards compatible the new Switch successor will be or something like that.
I don't know about Switches.
The handheld specifically. That's the DS and 3DS. There's such weird formats. It's those games are just going to disappear.
Yes, bud, you're correct. Shit. I have a normal 3DS and I have a 2DS XL we got at Game Trailers or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
Zelda.
my original 3DS, the thumb pad just disintegrated. And so a couple years ago I got a new 3DS. And I specifically wanted the normal size new 3DS, and it was a little tricky to track down, one that was refurbished. And then I had to remove, they didn't check it. Somebody had put on custom firmware, and I had to go through the process of removing that.
Damn.
But yeah. So anyways, so I was I've at least got, like you're kind of saying, like a backup. Like I've got one that's in good condition for when I want to play those games.
If someone wants to sell me a 3DS XL the Zelda one for a reasonable price, please.
Well, which one do you want?
Which
the
ones
Ocarina
are
or the
there?
Majora's Mask one?
I can't.
Well,
remember.
so there's the Ocarina, which is the old 3DS.
But I
And
want the XL.
There's Majora's Mask, and there was A Link Between Worlds. So you have those two.
Oh,
Majora's
are
Mask
those
and Link
both
Between Worlds
XLs
are
too?
New 3DS. Yeah.
I don't know. Hit me up with both. Because like I want one of these things.
Yeah. Well, maybe the Link Between Worlds isn't like new. It might have been 3DS XL for that one, and then so that was 2013. I don't
But
think
then there
new.
was new 3DS.
That
XL?
2015
Yeah.
was Majora's Mask, and that had it as well.
I'm looking this up.
Yeah.
I need to see this.
There's OG Ocarina, which is OG 3DS collectors. Then there's A Link Between Worlds, which is 3DS XL, and then there's Majora's Mask, which is new 3DS
Okay.
XL.
I would take, I guess any of these. The Link Between Worlds one or the Majora's Mask one. Where's the I want to see how much this all. How much is this?
Oh gosh.
I'm just looking on Amazon real quick.
What's funny is the standard size new 3DS that I got was just like Nintendo really didn't do much with it here. Like they were more promoting the XL version.
Yeah.
But the standard one, they did these removable faceplates.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But I think they mostly only did the faceplates in Japan.
Yeah.
So you'd have to get, import if you want other faceplates.
But
These are expensive.
all right.
Like some of these are like $500,
Sheesh.
$400. One of these is $800.
Which one?
This is the Majora's Mask one.
Sick.
I think Kristen has that one. Dude, I gotta like try to buy that off her. Or something. I don't know if she would go for that. Though.
I'm gonna sell my whole Zelda collection, make a down payment on a house.
Yeah, you could, dude. Tell me. I'll buy some of your stuff. Good lord. Okay, let's get some sorted outs from the community. This is from James Anderson. Sorted out. Hey, allies. Just thought I'd raise awareness of a company called Motorsport Games. As their name implies, they are out to make racing games and run esports events for various real-world racing leagues. And in their short existence, they've gotten deals with series like NASCAR, IndyCar, World Endurance Championship, British Touring Car Championship, and Formula E. Thing is, they're a train wreck of a company in that its relatively short existence has all kinds of lawsuits and scandals while hemorrhaging money and personnel. While the games have started development under them, they have been all hot messes with many doubting the majority still in development or even going to make it to release. Why does this bother me so much? Because all these leagues got duped into exclusivity agreements that mean that not only are good games, this is poorly written kind of, that mean that not only are good games from them completely off the table for now, they're also looking like they won't be allowed to work with various broader appeal racing franchises like Forza, Gran Turismo, and Grid, which they used to be very good about years ago. A couple of them have already pissed off fans for adding new restrictions to what iRacing can do with their cars and series. On the gaming industry side, of course, motorsport games need to just stop fighting their inevitable collapse and go away. But all of these leagues, they need to wake up and start taking video games seriously. They need to appeal to younger generations, and video games are a no-brainer way to do that if they're actually good. But it takes finding partners who actually care and not just the sake of oil salesmen offering numbers that just sound good in theory. And exclusivity deals like this just suck for players in general, sorted out. So they're making all these deals, these companies, with games that are like maybe not coming out, and they're locked out of appearing in other games. So I guess like if you want them in your Gran Turismo, not happening. So I guess it's just people missing out, making weird deals that aren't coming through. And they said like their games
I never heard of this
haven't been coming
company
through.
or any of this stuff. It's craziness.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if you knew, Blood, but
Yeah. NASCAR has always been a little weird. Like they used to have like some really big series, and then they started. I think like once Activision stopped doing them or whatever, they started getting smaller and smaller developers working on the NASCAR games to the point that like you didn't even realize that they were coming out.
damn. I guess the part that's funny is because he said, why is this bothering so much? Because all these leagues got duped in exclusivity agreements. That mean not only are they good games, but they're completely off the table for now.
Yeah, that's something.
That's wild.
Any car-related companies just need to stop granting that kind of thing. It was the biggest headache in the world for years and years when like Porsche couldn't be in Gran Turismo or Forza, or like Forza eventually got like an extra license deal to work it out so that, but then you basically had to pay for DLC to get the Porsches.
No, do you know, Blood, if like let's say like Gran Turismo gets a deal with a car company or something, it would block that from happening in Forza or anything like that?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was EA, Need for Speed had that license for the longest time, and I think that's like in the past now because I think everyone's got them these days. But it's just, it's just been a big headache, and it's like a lot of the times that you've seen like some cars will be in one game and not another.
Yes.
For those reasons, and it just. It sucks because, Forza and GT are competing, but in a lot of cases, like, some of these games aren't, right? Like Gran Turismo and Need for Speed, not really competition.
No.
Not really. I mean, yeah, but no.
They brought up,
but these are, like...
iRacing, I think that's, like, a very big PC.
Yeah, it's sort of like a platform for people to do what they want. So the community builds a lot of that stuff out there.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I guess it's just dicey with so many different companies and so many different hands getting shaken. It's just like kind of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hopefully they'll figure stuff out where it's like doesn't happen as much, I guess. Like I just think about Huber, he was complaining about Need for Speed because he's like, "Where's the Hondas, man?" It's
right.
Like, why is there Ferraris in this game?
Right. Well, that's partly because, he was looking at the opening chapter, and then once you get into the main game, you have to pick a car again, and you kind of go back to those beater cars.
Yeah.
But for sure. But yeah, I mean, like for instance, like, you've got the official F1 series, and, and then as a result, because they've got their own games that they want to promote, then, you don't really get like official F1 stuff in like Forza and GT either.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a lot of racing games, man.
Mm-hmm.
A whole world I don't know much about. All right. Let's see. This is from Raymond Spiller. Sort it out. Tiny UI fonts and games. I'm blessed with 20/20 vision and have to squint to read some of the text in Midnight Suns. All the subtitles and UI should have been scalable with multiple font size options. Sort it out. Besides that, the game is a banger, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with that too much just because I'm basically at a,
you're at your desk.
Sitting,
yeah, because you're playing on like a monitor usually, right?
Yeah.
Computer monitor?
Yeah, I've got like one monitor for my PC, another monitor for my consoles. But yeah, if you're on a couch looking across the room.
Yeah, I get it. This is from Akantos. Sort it out. Xbox Game Pass, please include mouse and keyboard support for cloud gaming. As someone who uses Xbox Cloud streaming for most of my gaming at the moment, and mouse and keyboard as an option for some games like strategy would be fantastic. As it is, I actively avoid certain types of games because I don't want to play them with a controller. Sort it out. Like, hey, I get that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll implement that.
Yeah, if the game supports it, then the cloud should support it. Yeah.
Definitely. This is from Alexander Zirinoff. I like this one. This one's funny. Sort it out. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo need to work together and standardize controllers' button mapping or button naming. It's ridiculous that each platform uses X for a different button. I think it's cross officially on PlayStation. But I know what you mean. And for many, this is a huge barrier when you want to play one game on a platform you're rarely using, or when you team up with a friend from a different system and need to tell them how to perform a certain action. And no, remapping buttons in the system menu is not a solution, as games often rely on both on button names and the position on the controller. I'm an Xbox player. And when I recently jumped to Switch to play Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I was forced to choose between constantly pressing wrong buttons during exploration or remapping them and dealing with the misleading UI in combat. Platform holders, please stop using history as an excuse and come up with a unified standard for controllers you're using. We are buying your systems to play games, not to think about which buttons to press. This only happens to me rarely with Xbox and Switch.
Yeah.
Because the X and Y are swapped on those.
And every time I bring this up, people are like, yeah, remap. Like, why are you having this problem? And it's like, to me, it's always like muscle memory because Switch does like make you hit the buttons in different positions than you would on Xbox. And it's really frustrating to do that. So I do sympathize with that. And I wish this would happen. I feel like I know maybe if enough pressure was leveraged by people championing maybe like accessibility and like and doing that, they'd maybe move forward with that. I could see like Sony being the weird one because like they're like our buttons are iconic. Like we're not going to letters and stuff like that.
They're like shapes.
And you'd also probably get like the most outcry from like some Sony hardcore fans saying like, no, you're messing with like tradition and history here. Yeah. Nintendo, it's like, can you just please like flip your,
Was that the layout since Super Nintendo though? Yeah.
That's what everyone likes to, people like to say like, well, Super Nintendo.
N64 and GameCube were weird, but
but if like the 4 buttons,
people
like
point to Super Nintendo like, well, everyone should just conform to Nintendo's layout because they were the ones that pioneered it. But like, I would argue, just like with like a lot of other things, like language, like when people argue about like word use and meaning, it's like, well, how does the population use that word now? They use it like that. You're fighting a losing battle, trying to like change it, like with that. Same with the controllers. Like, sure, Nintendo might have pioneered that like layout first on Super Nintendo, but if everyone like predominantly is used to like Xbox's layout because PC gamers and Xbox players. I mean, but maybe that's not true because like how many people have Switches and play,
I think the ultimate is what it comes down to is that people like us that are playing 4 different platforms are the exception. And most people is like they buy a Switch and they're good. Yeah. They buy an Xbox and they're good.
Yeah.
So like
definitely
hopping back and forth between controllers is just not a thing that throws a whole lot of us off.
But yeah, I don't get mixed up when I go between PlayStation and Xbox. Though,
no.
PC.
Never.
It's always going to
Nintendo.
The Switch, but that's and it's like
it's one button.
It's just like it takes a little bit of time, but like every now and then muscle memory will kick in, like in a heated situation, and I'll hit the wrong one. Like I brought up a menu, I did not. That was not what I hit, but that's okay. Like I do have to think about it a little bit more, and it would just be. I mean, heck, Nintendo could even like sell special controller versions where it's like. Here, we'll actually change the face buttons for you or something.
I think the most fundamental situation where it could become weird because I saw a friend of mine was like asking for advice on Facebook on this. Is like, how do I get the Switch and the Xbox to talk to each other for Fortnite? Because you cross-play Fortnite, and so if you've got your kids in there and one of them's playing on Switch and the other one's playing on Xbox. And one of them's trying to teach them how to play Fortnite. Then it's just like you tell them, you're trying to teach somebody how to play, and your buttons are completely different. I get that.
I mean, yeah, it happens too. Even on PC, like when games support multiple controllers. Yeah. Like when you're explaining something to someone, they'll be like, you can make a comment to say, "Oh, what controller are you using?" Because most of they encounter either like dual, like PlayStation controller or an Xbox controller. So it's like, all right, so it's like the Y button or the triangle button, sorry, if you're on that one. So you get used to that. But again, it still would be nice just to have one.
Yeah. I kind of want PlayStations to always stay the same because it's always been that since PS1. Like the same shape of the buttons and all, like how they're laid out. It's always been that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. That's the argument you can make for all of them.
Yeah. Well, I think about like the Super Nintendo controller. Then the N64 controller where it's like very different layout, very different.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that because like physically, I don't know how you'd be able to solve this, but it's kind of like the same thing with language. You don't want regional languages to go away because it's part of culture, part of humanity. But it would be nice to have like a world language. Like everyone would have to at least know 2 languages. Like make up a new language that's like, neutral that everyone has to learn on top of like their regional language, so everyone can try and communicate with each other. Obviously, if you want to get better nuanced understanding of people, go further and learn their regional language. Video games, like sure, let everyone keep their controllers, but it'd be sick if like they also made like here's a uniform controller that will work on every platform. You buy this controller, it works on anyone, and it's like this input, and all your games must account when it plugs in. Your system will detect that. The UI will then change. That technology's there. Like the UI should just change based on your controller you want to use.
Mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, and same with mouse and keyboard.
Is.
Like I think there's a way to solve it.
Without
getting written, but they could still keep their specialized controllers as well.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting to that kind of point, just more as games are progressing.
Yeah.
Like, just to be able to plug in a DualSense on a PC and it just work right off the gate is something that wouldn't have happened like 10 years ago.
And again, I think the cross-play stuff, it makes that more and more likely.
Definitely. All right, keep it up. What's something game industry's doing that we're appreciating right now? Who do you want to keep it up? Mm-hmm. Who's doing good?
So many games coming out.
So many games coming out, man.
So good games. Just keep it up.
Just keep it up.
Year's like looking pretty solid. So if they keep the pace, man.
Keep it up. Keep that pace up.
Gonna be feasting this year, yeah.
Kind of weird one, I guess. So Final Fantasy 16 is coming out in June 22nd, I believe.
Yeah.
The game has been done for a while, but they've just been polishing this baby up big time, dude. Mm-hmm. Like that level of polish and care to that thing that they're putting into that thing, dude, keep that up, dude. Like I'm not worried about that game coming out and being like, man, I should have waited for 2 more patches kind of thing. Like I feel like when that game comes out, it's good to go. It's good, man. Keep that up. Like I think Death Stranding was kind of like that too when it came out. Just like these games getting that polish.
They kept adding things and putting in different things there. But yeah, it was good.
But there was like, there's no day
out.
one patch or anything like that. Yeah. It's just like, yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I know it's not possible for everyone and stuff like that. But when the examples it happens, I love it and I respect it. Anything from you two?
Capcom, keep it up, keeping the island in RE4. Making us all like recognize we were all wrong, being like, we know you.
We'll see about that.
Like we know you want this, and we know what we know what you meant by saying get rid of the island. They're probably like we know what you meant, but you don't realize how much is on
those contra parts.
They're specifically talking to me like Damiani, you don't know how much is on the island. You're dumb.
Yeah,
like we're gonna remind you how much good stuff there is. And like
maybe some new stuff.
Keep it up for going long though, because that just cements how long. Because people have been accusing the remakes of cutting stuff and being shorter, and it's like this one, like nope.
No.
This is like the longest Resident Evil, I think. Well, close to it.
It'll probably be. I think 6 is the longest, right?
Because of the multiple character paths, but like just like a single character path, like 4 is too long. The longest.
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've appreciated over the past year is those Digital Eclipse collections. The Cowabunga collection and the Atari collection, and just how much work they did to like not only like slap a bunch of games on a disc, but like we're gonna walk you through. You're gonna see like the marketing and the flyers and the commercials, and you're gonna understand like why this game that looks like garbage right now is actually a really big deal when it came out. And yeah, like the industry needs to keep working with them and keep giving them those kinds of materials, but then also like emulating that stuff. Like that should be the way for these collections to go forward, not stuff like the Sonic debacle that happened last summer. Give people good versions of games, give people good, like, online play for Teenage Mutant Ninja Tournament Fighters. Like,
that's sick.
What?
Yeah. Like, I don't know how many people
that
use
didn't need
that.
to happen,
but that's
it
cool.
happened.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's a great one, Blood. Big time.
Yeah.
Keep it up, yeah.
And I think they've been adding online play to certain games as they've been updating that collection. Yeah.
Probably. Since I have both of you here, I have to ask just quickly. I need a quick gut check on Nintendo Direct. When's it happening? Give me the day. What am I seeing?
Last year, have in February,
Yeah,
so I
probably.
would lean towards that. Yeah.
What date? What are we thinking?
I don't know. Somewhere
Whatever the first Thursday of February is.
Okay.
close. Yeah, maybe close to the Mario Park opening date in February.
Oh,
so
sure.
like they could do a quick
Little-
shout out to
little
that.
cross
Well, just to
synergy?
give it like a shout out to it.
Oh yeah.
Also, that might be like the final. You know what? We might get. Oh, they do it separately. I think in February we're gonna get the direct and the final Mario movie trailer. I think we'll get movie trailer 3, and that'll be it. If they're doing another trailer.
Yeah.
Because it comes out in April.
Yeah,
so.
because when you say the direct, I'm thinking the big overall encompassing announcements, multiple game direct. I think there will be a separate direct for Zelda sometime.
Yeah, they'll probably show off like another
There'll
trailer.
maybe be a separate thing for the theme park or whatever.
Yeah, there'll be probably like a Tears of the Kingdom trailer in this direct, and then they'll throw out like, hey, by the way, tune back in on this date for like a Zelda direct deep dive.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot like stuff. Like, I mean, they'll still technically talk about Kirby. They'll still talk about Octopath Traveler 2.
Dragon Quest, hopefully
they'll-
3.
Yeah, like there's like releases for this year that they still can talk about, but obviously we need a few more announcements because beyond Tears of the Kingdom we don't have anything.
No, nothing
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Same with Sony though. We only know about Spider-Man.
True. It's just like we start the year. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
we know a few months, but
Yeah.
that's fine. We got so much coming out in this first 5-6 months. It's
Yeah.
totally fine.
Totally fine. All right, back on track. Let's keep it up. This is from Gerzilla. Keep it up. Masahori Sakurai YouTube channel is a delight to the gaming community and for the future game developers like me. I've been gaming for over 20 years now, and it's been very refreshing to see an experienced game developer like Sakurai explain game design concepts and ideas with such positive outlook. He really looks like he enjoys doing it, and it just makes me happy is all. It also helps that his explanations are very easy to follow with clear examples of what he means. If you want a good showcase for this, one of his very first videos called Stop for Big Moments, Design
Yep.
Specifics is a good tip. Love and respect, Grizilla. I've seen like one or two videos, but they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're
I
so
haven't
cool.
kept up with the whole
They're
series.
so cool,
The first
dude.
two were really good.
But
Yeah,
it's so well put together.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're saying, it's like he'll take examples from games he's worked on. He'll take examples from other games. He'll take examples of games that don't do the thing, and then like through video editing, like, see, this is what it would look like if they did it, And it's just like, and it's just it's wild, and particularly because these are really like deep down to the bone topics, but I think pretty much every one of these videos is like 10 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
definitely
he's
not over
very
like 15.
quick
yeah.
and
very
efficient.
succinct.
Yeah.
The death animation one, like one of the first ones, was a really good one. Like when he did the editing on like what was the side-scrolling shooter one, but it was he did like that's why he did the custom editing to like slow down the death at certain points. Like this is more impactful, and you can actually see what killed you and understand versus like in the game, you're just dead. Like what hit me? What? I was like, yeah, and this is very easy to understand. Like you want player feedback to improve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This next one is from Akantos, who also had a sorted out. This is keep it up. Keep it up. Game Pass Cloud works super well as long as you have cable internet. At the moment, I only have a dingly old laptop for gaming. Cloud streaming has allowed me to keep playing games besides those released before 2002. All in all, I recommend it to anyone in a first world country without data caps. Love and respect from the home of Yule Scum.
Yeah. No, it's really, the times that I've checked it out, it's been responsive.
Yeah.
I don't have Ultimate, so I don't regularly
Yeah.
check in on it, but
I feel like definitely some games could work with it better.
yeah, my
Others.
my issues with like Stadia and Luna and all that in the past have been exactly what they're saying though. It's like the internet connection is inconsistent and crappy, and so like nothing I do can fix that. It's like so it's
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if there's like a real problem that I can have them come out and fix, I've had that happen and that's been done. But then there's other times where it's like, well, You say I have a bad connection, but everything else is working fine, so I don't know what's happening.
All right, time for some shout-outs. Every episode, we got some shout-outs from some of our most generous patrons. This episode, we got Jabbawabs, Elthanas, and Greg TheDarkKnight Kettering. Shout out, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Bloodworth, you're up again. Talk to me about Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yeah, I've been digging into this partly because people have been asking for us to talk about it, and
yes.
I think it is an interesting and significant game, and we just haven't had a chance to get into it yet.
It's one of those released in December games.
Yeah, and it's also, it's hard for me too because it's like I am personally very bad and very intimidated with strategy games. And so, getting it, there have been so many times that I've tried to get into a strategy game, and then maybe I'll get to some point when I have to start picking characters or something. And then I just it falls apart, and I never really finish. But this game, I can see why they've had a hard time getting traction and getting people behind it, because this game is kind of all over the place, and not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just you're doing a lot of really sort of different things. So yes, there is the strategy element of it that I'll get into, but it's it is a mission-based kind of thing. So it's you pick a mission, you go out, and you do your fight, but there's not a dungeon that you crawl through or anything like that. And then you've got your home base and your Marvel buddies and this kind of Persona / Disney Dreamlight Valley thing going on with your base. But then there's this whole area around the base, and this is the part I did not expect. They're these woods and these grounds where you wander around in third person and explore and find little journal entries, and it's almost light Metroidvania. I don't think you can even jump, but you get these spells that then give you access to new areas, and then you sort of find collectibles that are used for not quite puzzles, but completing a set, and then you can unlock some other thing. And then there are these kind of challenge battles that you have to complete to sort of get the next spell to get more further into other areas of the woods that are kind of locked. And it's just all of this stuff put together, and it's there's a lot there's a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's interesting. I will say that one of my disappointments is that while I'm sort of interested in the story and the lore, the characters all feel kind of stiff with the writing and the voice acting. I know you've played a little at the beginning of it.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And it's some of them sort of seem like they're trying to imitate the MCU. Yeah.
All of them. All the writing is just normal Marvel writing. It's that's fine, I guess, but it's just I'm just not in the mood for that.
It's just slightly too much banter. It's okay, some banter at first is good, but it's is every line have to try to be a joke?
Yeah.
I think it's okay. But yeah, so you're building your bonds, you're building your team. There's all of these different elements that kind of you're
your own creator.
And then your main character is this creator character who's just the hunter.
Yeah.
And they even make a joke about that because you ask Blade, so do you have a real name? It's of course I got a real name. What is your real name, the Hunter? And he's yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But what I find interesting is with the combat is that because it's from the people that make XCOM, so I'm sort of expecting something like XCOM, but it's really very, very different. And actually, it's almost things are getting passed back and forth because I feel similarities to something like Mario and Rabbids.
Oh, really?
In it, because you have these props that are in the arenas as well that you can use to your effect. And so there's
you could throw someone into electrical thing or something like that.
Yeah. So there's a box on the ground. You can grab the box and throw the box at somebody, or there's something to vault over so the character can jump over it and do a downward stab on an enemy like that. But so like with XCOM, like a lot of it is, you're taking your time to like uncover the fog and like moving your characters into the right position so that they're not vulnerable. And in Midnight Suns, you don't really move your characters very much. And in fact, like you only, like at least in the beginning, like you only have like one move. You can move one character
per turn
in
or
your
something
turn
like that.
to just kind of reposition them. So it's very interesting. And then all of your attacks are card based. And so each one of your characters has a deck that, as you go along, you can get new moves or you can augment moves. And then it kind of draws out of all three characters' decks randomly. And so it's like you don't go turn by turn per character. Just like, okay, you've got a deck of cards. You got 3 card moves that you can do.
Okay.
And then, it just sort of depends. Does Blade have any cards out right now? I guess I can't use any Blade cards, so I'll use a Hunter card or I'll use a Captain Marvel card or whatever. And then there are basic attack cards, and using them builds up a hero meter.
Okay.
And then the hero meter lets you use some of the cards that have like a bit more impact or that attack more enemies. But a hero meter also is what you use for those environmental attacks too.
Okay.
So you kind of have to balance it, like, okay, what's actually going to be the best use of that resource? And then there are all these other, like, constantly like putting in like more like nuances and details. So it's like, okay, there are enemies that they just consider minions that if you hit them at all, they're just going to die. And then there are other enemies that have health bars. So it's like, okay, well, I can take out 2 guys by like using a knockback by like popping this guy and like shoving him into a minion or stuff like that. Or similarly, like you have like attacks that'll be like a straight line that will just hit everybody in front of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like the positioning is important. But then, like I said, it's like you only get like that one move per turn. So it's like, okay, I'm going to move my character over here so that then they can knock back this character into a certain direction or into like I had one mission where like I had to stop a helicopter from taking off.
Okay.
And what was interesting there too is like killing certain enemies then gave you additional like objective cards.
Okay.
So there's like I killed this guy and then I had gained the ability to delay the chopper from taking off for a turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's all these crazy little things going on, and it just gets, it just seems to stack up more and more.
Yeah.
But it's not, none of it is so much that it's like overwhelming so far. Even like the decks that you have, like you can only put 8 cards in a character's deck.
Yeah.
And you have to have, some of the right kinds of cards. So you can't like get yourself into backed into a corner too much because like you have to have an attack card.
Okay.
You have to have a skill card. You have to have the other.
Yeah,
type
you
of
can
cards.
also like re-roll some cards.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You have 1 or 2 re-rolls, depending on. Yeah, it's probably one of those things that kind of changes as well. But yeah, so like if you're in a situation where you have card moves left, but you can't use any of your cards, you can mouse over a card and then re-roll it and draw a different card.
Gotcha.
But some moves will just like wipe out everything in your hand as like kind of like the give and take of that card. Or there are cards that they're called quick, so that like if you KO an enemy with that attack, then you get another. You refunded your card move, so you can use an extra card.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it's like about kind of chaining these things together and figuring out like sort of the most efficient path to take out as many enemies as you can in a single turn.
Yeah, sounds pretty interesting. It's definitely not what I thought it was going to be. Like when you don't like less about strategically moving your characters into positions versus like playing the right deck.
Yeah.
So it definitely sounds more like a pure card game than anything. Though, like, yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, can you not like take cover or anything with your characters?
No.
Okay.
I mean, there are moves where you can defend. Like Captain Marvel has this thing where she goes binary and she just gets like a huge, extra like shield gauge there, so they have to take out her shield before they can actually damage her. And then while she's in that state, she's also doing extra damage. So you want to keep that shield up because as soon as her shield goes down, then she goes back to her regular amount of damage there.
So all these like battlefields are pretty small then. For what
That's
I
the
played,
thing. You don't move.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you don't like move forward in a
Everything I was
battlefield.
in was
It's
like
just a big
pretty
circle.
small.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like, you're like in the middle of like a city or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a cool like battle concept. For me, what personally draws me into strategy games is like the map and like having like that kind of like chess games. So just they moved it to the
Valkyrie.
Yeah,
All those games for you.
yeah,
Big time.
Trying to think about what else was. Oh, one of the things that's really funny for me is I'm playing, like, we're just talking about mouse and keyboard versus controller. I'm kind of doing a hybrid.
Okay. When you're moving your character or something, you're doing the controller?
Yeah, so like I'm using a controller to like move around the abbey and the outskirts and doing all the exploring stuff. And then when I'm in combat, I'm using the controller to rotate the camera and move the camera around.
Okay.
But then I'm using the mouse to actually like
do the moves,
click on cards,
stuff.
click on targets,
Okay.
and all of that.
Interesting.
But then when you're back, because you spend so much time not even in combat,
Right?
Like a lot of time. And what's interesting is they actually kind of like things kind of progress by days. So you have like a day stage and then a night stage, and then you cross into like you go to sleep at some point and you cross into the next day, and then new missions up here.
Okay.
But like a lot of stuff plays off of that. So like they have the XCOM style like research where like you go to Tony and Doctor Strange and the Forge, and like research projects that you do, and they'll take a certain number of days to complete. And when you're in combat, somebody can potentially get injured.
Oh.
And so an injury will take a certain number of days to heal. And so you can bring them into a mission, but they're going to have
debuffs.
They're going to start off with less health or whatever if they're injured. And then there are all these other little things where like you can pick like a sparring partner, but you only get to spar once per day. And then with your sparring partner, your friendship level will go up, and they'll have like a specific like buffs
persona
in the mission.
yeah.
And then there's this thing called havens, which is crazy to me so far. This is the Disney Dreamlight Valley business, because while you're exploring the grounds, you'll find like these little like just glowing blue spots, and these are hangout spots.
Okay.
And so every haven, you can only go and hang out at that spot once, and then you can only do one of the haven hangouts with each character one time.
Oh.
So you could have to like really like, and it probably doesn't matter, but it was like it was throwing me off because it was like, okay, my haven options are to like go bird watching, go painting, go fishing, hunt mushrooms, and I'm like, does Captain Marvel want to hunt mushrooms? Like I don't. Like,
What,
I eventually settled on like painting with Doctor Strange, but I'm just like, I don't know who's going.
It's like, will that matter if they
like,
do something they don't
fishing
want
with Tony
to?
Stark? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting.
But then there are other hangouts like I did like, but that are they just kind of appear in the evenings, which was like, you can watch movies with somebody, or like you can read a book by the fire with Iron Man or whatever. And then there are also like dialogue options, and you can talk through people, and like you can gain friendship points that way.
Okay.
There's also this like light dark system, but so far it seems almost pointless, because it's just one of those things where it's like, well, if you go on the light route, then the further you get, the more higher level light abilities you'll be able to use, but so it's like, then I just stay on the light route. Why would I ever pick the dark route dialogue option? Yeah. So, but I have had points where I picked the light option to get light points, but then that character didn't like what I said. So I got light points, but I lost friendship points.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Figuring out that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally. Huh. So it's like the light thing. What's the difference between light attacks and dark attacks? Are they just like an elemental thing?
I think it's just like specific abilities that that you don't get any other way. Unless you're a certain distance down that path.
Blood, when they announced this game, and we found out it was card games, or you use cards, and I remember a lot of people were, like, had red flags kind of about using cards. Do you feel like the card system is working out well?
Yeah, because like I said, you're not getting a ton of cards. It's not like I'm having to sit through this gigantic deck.
Packs.
Right. Well, you do sort of.
Okay.
So you get these things, they call them coils from completing missions.
Okay.
And then you take them to Tony, and he like cracks the pack for you.
Are you getting dupes?
Yes, but the dupes are good.
Okay.
Because when you have dupes, then you can combine them and make a higher version of that card
the dupes. Okay.
that does more damage, or that like allows you
cool.
to like use that card to either heal or attack, depending on the situation. But the thing when you're cracking those packs, it's like you can only I've upgraded it a little bit. So at first, 3 cards will appear, but you don't get all 3 of those cards. You pick one of the 3 cards that you want to keep.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't end up with this overwhelming amount of cards to manage. And then because of the way that you use duplicate cards, you pretty much just go and, once you don't have a card in your deck, then you use that duplicate to augment something else.
These cards are for the other characters too, right?
Yeah, everybody's got their own deck, their own abilities, So like Blade's got stuff to where like he
gets
has
bleed effects or something.
Yeah, he puts bleed effects on enemies, and then like he has like he can heal with like vampire attack kind of thing.
Cool.
And then like Ghost Rider will like put this like pit to hell in the ground or whatever, and if you knock somebody into it, then they'll just get sucked in.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, how's the roster of the characters?
So far, it's pretty cool because like it's a mix of stuff, mix of characters that
you're very
familiar with in the MCU, but then you've got characters that haven't really been involved, and I think one of the reasons again that may be harder for people to resonate with is it's really deep into like all the witch stuff, so it's like Agatha and Scarlet Witch and that whole line of lore that really like MCU is just barely scratched the surface on, and I don't know a lot about, so it actually is sort of interesting for me because like I don't know what the crap's going on here. So cool. It's cool. I'll learn about the elder gods of Marvel.
Yes.
And Lilith is your character's mother. I'm like, okay. But then, and I haven't really gotten like. I think the next thing I got to do is I got to go find Spider-Man, because Spider-Man helped us out. We fought a boss battle against Venom.
Yep.
And then Spider-Man, came and lured Venom away.
Yeah. I got some write-ins for this, Blood. This is from Sentinel Beach. I believe they've been asking us to play this game forever.
Nice.
They wrote it as a keep it up, but this is just a thing for this. Keep it up. Amazing work for Axis. Midnight Suns was even better than I had dared to hope. I played it all December, and honestly, it is now my game of the year. Such a cool combination of something totally new with the Marvel characters. The strategic battles have so many different styles it can all play out. And the abilities of all the different heroes have been made extremely versatile. The card system simply works and has depth to it. And then there's the Abbey side of everything, where you make friendships and get to know everyone step by step. So much dialogue in this game. Who would have guessed? It's luckily also interesting to follow, and it makes it possible just for the main character, Hunter, to also grow as a person and not just as a tabula rasa.
Tabula rasa, blank slate, yeah.
Oh, okay. Such an entertaining big picture with all of this. It's just a bummer that the game had a December release, which may have left it out of many people's radars. But I'm having fun. Already bought the season pass and can't wait for the sequel that was teased in the end. Firaxis, keep it up.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's weird because, like I said, like you've got the kind of like stilted voice acting or something, but it is one of those things, and I've felt this with other games too. Or Guardians of the Galaxy is a good example. Where it's like my first impression is like, but then you start getting to know the characters and stuff, and it starts to bother you less and less.
Yeah, totally. I think that's fair. Oh, whoops. I forgot who wrote this, and I wrote the same name twice. But, sorry, you know who you are. Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and now Midnight Suns appears to be following the trend of underperforming Marvel games. What's the deal? Is the Marvel brand just not as strong as we thought? Spider-Man appears to be an outlier. Well, Avengers was just like a mess. I think it sold well when it came out.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think it sold quite well, but it
then
didn't have that
it had the
staying
diminishing
power that they wanted
returns, yeah.
for a games as a service or whatever.
Guardians of the Galaxy definitely got hit by that, of the Avengers stank still on it, where it suffered from that. Then people played it later and were like, oh, this is really cool. And this game, I feel like this is more of a smaller like niche, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
as a type of game,
turn-based strategy is a tricky thing.
It's not,
and
super,
especially in a year where we've had so
many
much turn-based strategy.
Yeah, a lot. And it did come out in December, which a lot of people like move on.
Yeah.
You know, they're not buying stuff after Black Friday or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely got affected by that, I'm sure. But it sounds like everyone that's been diving into it's really been liking it. So
Right.
that's good. Sounds like a solid game.
It's hard to say like what they could have done different because there's just so much of it that is just really down to, you're spending a lot of time talking, you know. It's like, and you know, on the surface, just looking at a battle, you know, if you're not getting into the investment of it, they can all sort of look the same in a way, you know. So it's just like it's really hard, like unless you're just gonna go and like show off everybody's coolest moves, you know, to express like how this actually, you know, would appeal to a broader audience.
Yeah. It's like Spider-Man. You know, you can recommend that game to like anybody. You know. Just getting into games, it's much less intimidating for sure. It's like, you get it. You're Spider-Man, you're swinging around. That's what's fun about Spider-Man and stuff like that. So, but a game like this, could be a harder sell for some people.
But I do think, you know, we were talking about Persona earlier. You know, we were talking about Three Houses. It's very, very easy parallels to Three Houses. If you really enjoyed, you know, all that where, you know, taking people to tea and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
It's very much along the same line. And then, you know, like I said, the Dreamlight Valley aspects of like, oh, do you want to put a writing desk in the corner of your room? I'm like, sure, why not? I'll use my gloss.
Hell yeah.
to buy a writing desk.
Okay, Damiani, talk to me about Final Fantasy XIV patch 6.3?
6.3.
6.3. This came out last week?
Yeah.
So, new patch, Damiani's playing it.
1 week old.
One week old.
God's Revel, Lands Tremble is the name of it.
Okay.
Interesting. But, I mean, it makes sense because the God's Revel part is alluding to the new 24-person Alliance raid. This is continuing the theme of exploring the 12, the gods of the world, who are an important part of the lore, but we've never really seen them extensively. Never really got like a deep dive into them. Well, Heidelin's not
I know,
one of the but that's the thing. Yeah, like people like so remember the character creator where you pick like your birthday?
Yes.
And it's like 12 months.
I just tried to line it up with
those
my
names
actual
are
birthday.
all the gods actually.
Okay.
And now we're seeing them in person. So we saw the first set, now we're seeing the next set of this. And like some of them who like they've all had like artwork, I guess, sort of. But like the big ones were like Nafika, this like beautiful redheaded woman, like, you know, like about like the like bounty. She's like out in this like amber waves of grain field, with this like green flowing dress and like, you know, just like this jolly girl, just like, you know, having a pleasant conversation. Then she's like, let's do battle. Like the whole thing is like they're just like testing you for fun. They're like they're not malevolent. They're like they're here to like we're like they're like we're not here to kill you, but like we're testing you. And the one for me that was really cool was a Halone. She looks like a Valkyrie, like meet the.
I did see her. I was like, is this a Valkyrie Elysium character?
Like that Valkyrie character meets like the Paladin, like the iconic Paladin set, and like their fight is like really cool. So you're getting dialogue from them. You're getting these really cool battles with them. And then it culminates with Menfina, the god, like the lover god, but like the big deal with her is the music for that. Fantastic music, like a new like vocal track
I'm
on
not
there.
surprised.
But Dalamud, the big moon that crashes down.
Yeah.
That Dalamud is actually like a dog.
What?
It's a wolf thing or whatever.
Okay.
You see it. It's like you see its personified form, or not personified, but like it's like actual like organic form. It's a good boy wolf, and like she like rides on him and everything, and it's like a moon theme fight though, because she's like summoning the phases of the moon, like give you the order of the mechanics. It's
More
like
Final Fantasy IV stuff.
Oh no! Like it's like she's like the lyrics about like the moon. And stuff.
I just meant the moon in general.
But you're alluding to something else. Like so, it's very beautiful. One of the best looking environments in a dungeon. Like the middle part of it, like insanity. Like what they're doing with it, I thought like absolutely gorgeous. Showcasing those graphical improvements have been slowly working into the game.
Oh yeah,
leading up to the next expansion.
Cool.
Like they're putting it. They're putting it to work, and also improving older parts of the game. Obviously, they started improving more of Heaven's Ward stuff. Apparently, like they finished tweaking, I think, most of Heaven's Ward. But the other big thing, so 24-person alliance raid, had a great time with it. Ran it with the EZA community. Cool. I got yeeted off the edge on a mechanic.
Awesome.
I thought it did something else.
Fun.
It didn't. I got knocked off the edge to their delight. So didn't happen in a spot in the first 24-person alliance where everyone was expecting it to happen, because I figured out the last second, so they were all disappointed I didn't get my yeeted death. But it was as good as it could be with people trying to not explain mechanics.
Oh, I know. I've raided with you before. You don't tell me anything usually.
Now the absolute pleasure.
Okay.
The main story quest.
Yes.
The new EX trial.
Oh.
Sorry, the new trial. This trial, not even
A
EX.
new trial.
A new trial, the new boss fight.
Okay.
So the new dungeon, the new dungeon is really good, actually. They have this, like, snow-themed dungeon in Garlemald. And you fight, so I'm sorry. I'll put light spoilers. So when I put my hands back up, you can tune back in, but I have to say this stuff.
What I'm going to do is probably for this segment, dummies, I'm going to label this Final Fantasy, but I'm going to say light spoilers.
Okay, because I'm just saying who the bosses are.
Okay.
I'm not giving you any story details, but it's revealing. The dungeon boss is it's pronounced Cagnazzo. It's not Cagnazzo. It's Cagnazzo. It's Italian. The water fiend. So you fight him. His voice is like some like old Irish dude, like from a bar. I was like, what? That is not how I envisioned him whatsoever. So it was like a trip hearing him speak to me in that voice. I'm like, what?
Awesome.
It's like
awesome.
Really cool. Really cool fight. But like the trial, Rubicante. Soken? No, okay. The version of the Battle of the Four Fiends. So we got an instrumental version, an orchestral one for Barbaricia in the last patch.
The patch, yeah, I remember.
And you did that with me.
Yes, I did.
That was pretty epic sounding.
Yeah.
Soken tweeted that he can't officially reveal. He hopes one day he can officially reveal the source, but everyone, I think, figured out. Do you know about, like 10, 15 years ago, there was a meme video for Final Fantasy IV from a legendary, composer called Hyadane or Hadane. I don't know if you pronounce the Y. It's Hyad, but it's a meme video. He did some Mega Man ones as well.
Okay,
but it's like the Four Fiends, and it has some like really funny lyrics in them. It's goofy. It's meant to be like goofy. Think of the Super Mario RPG. He didn't do that one, but it's like kind of like that style. And especially in Japan, I mean, everywhere it kind of went viral, but like in Japan, it's like very, very popular.
Known. Yeah.
So this theme clearly is borrowing from that a little bit.
That's fun.
It's like, but it's so good. But it's like professional sounding. It's like these like professional choirs doing like the vocal stuff. It's not the same lyrics.
Yeah.
But like
There's
everything about it,
there.
even like the bell chimes that aren't in like the original, like are in there, like the same one. And Soken tease that they might have brought them in as a guest thing.
That's
like,
awesome.
So it starts off kind of simple, like a da-na-na-na-na-na. It's like nothing special, and then it like after that part it drops. I was like the battle began. I'm like, it's just the same one as the first one. That's okay. And then it drops. I'm like, holy crap, these lyrics. So it's like, yo, this is really good.
That is funny.
And like the visuals of the fight, like he does this thing where he uses his like flame sword to cut reality, and he like changes it from like you're fighting. So the battle is on Mount Ordeals, but it's in 14, so it's not snowy. It's like this like tropical paradise mountain. Too long to explain, but you're on top of a mountain fighting him. And then he cuts the reality of sword and becomes a flaming hellscape.
Cool.
And his fire 3 flare attack, like they got like the orbs of fire and everything right, and they just like all show up. It's like was really good. Like someone who's a Final Fantasy IV fan, this was like
this expansion's been feeding you nicely.
This is like peak.
Yeah, this has been feeding you good.
I think this might have been the peak of it. It was like really good. Obviously, some other good stuff in the story as well. Yep. Seeing some other returning characters. Don't need to get into that. But like definitely feel a sense of like that this whole fight about against Golbez. Like you're like this Golbez has become like the main focus. So it's like really nice. And there's a tease.
Okay.
There's a tease at the end. I'm very excited about the tease, but I won't say anything more about that. So yeah, good new main story, good new dungeon,
Put your hands up there if it's time.
Oh, we are now done.
That heard that.
We're now done. Okay,
I'm labeling this whole section.
Yeah, we're done with no more spoilers. So no more spoilers. So yeah, very good stuff there. And the other big addition is they added a new PvP map for the 5v5 push cart map.
Cool.
And it's crazy gimmicky. It's like a Kagane clock tower base, so it's Stormblood themed.
Yeah.
And it's like the Kageyama, the head, like the shady head boss, mafia boss dude, Yakuza dude, is like overseeing the match. And so during the match, he sends out like these soldiers who can do like crazy effects. Like one of them is if you look at them, you'll get made mini, so you take like way more damage. One of them is like if you're in their AoE circle, one shot you. Then he starts tossing gold coins out to everybody, and like you pick them up, it charges your limit break faster. So you're like all trying to like gather up the gold.
That's fun.
Like the middle of the arena has these platforms where if you stand on them too long, they flip up and like launch you up and do a lot of damage to you. There's like trick doors that lead you to different parts of the map.
That's cool.
It's just like very goofy and gimmicky, and it's kind of fun. And it's very elaborate because like you're indoors. It's not outdoors. It's like a nice indoor map, so you're completely surrounded by like and immersed in it, and it's kind of like a nice map to check out, even if you're just like a casual player. It was just fun just to run around in it and like see what it offered.
Are the relic weapons in it yet?
Not they were added last. They're already in the game. The first step, the Manderville relic weapon.
Okay.
Time to the Manderville quest line. So
I'm behind on that.
Forcing everyone to do that, which is good. The next step is not yet.
Okay.
It's coming later in this patch, along with a lot of other stuff.
I like
so
doing those.
They kind of do this now. It's pretty standard. Like first half of the content comes out at patch, and then halfway between that release and the next patch, they drop the rest of the content. So it's like now it's like feels like every 2 months you're getting like a bunch of content. But the big one that hasn't hit yet is a week from today. The next Ultimate Fight will drop, the Omega Protocol.
Okay.
So I haven't been able to see that yet. But yeah, I spent that day, did the Alliance raid in MSQ, and then really haven't jumped back in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But it was just like fun to like catch up on it and
totally.
see what was going on. The one I didn't get to mess around with, they completely reworked Paladin. Paladin has now been changed.
Okay.
So their toolkit has been modified. But
I played Paladin.
Yeah, haven't really spent too much time with that. They didn't really make any other significant changes. Everything else seems pretty standard. They don't really do major changes in the mid. Like it's very rare for them to do major changes mid expansion because people are still always constantly progressing through content that. It would be weird if they changed it up and like, oh, now I have to relearn this when I was already doing this fight. Like, I have to change everything. So this was a pretty big deal to do at this point. So good to see that. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't remember. But yeah, just really, really happy with the Final Fantasy IV music. It was so good.
Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah, this expansion was made for you.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
All those nods.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get more 6 nods for Blood in the future.
4 I'm really huge on too. So
yeah.
It's great.
Well, you just got to play the game, Blood. Just got to make time.
I was actually saying on the stream, I wish there was a way for them to somehow let you experience some content piecemeal.
Right.
Like even if you paid like the sub fee, there would be an option like, I just want to try this fight. Like as long as you're paying, like there should be like a way, like it doesn't carry any progress or anything. It's like, I saw this really cool fight. Can you just give me like a level 90 character at this stuff and let me try this fight just for like funsies or whatever?
Sure. Like a rental.
Yeah. Because I'd love to be like, but I don't need to play a game. Like we're just gonna we're gonna do the Final Fantasy IV boss fights real quick, so you can hear the music and see all this like cool stuff in action.
Yeah.
Eh.
Alrighty, it is time for some emails. As always, if you would like to send an email, just join us on Patreon, $5 and up. I post a thread every Sunday, and you can submit right there. All right, this first one is from Cabbage Lad. I cannot read
Cabbage
today.
Lad.
I cannot read today. Hi, panel. I just finished Crisis Core Reunion. I have such mixed feelings about it. For context, I played Remake before the original and loved both, but preferred Remake. So I was excited for Crisis Core to have the same treatment. I have to say I was disappointed. The PSP jank is alive and kicking in the new version. The writing and animation especially really took me out of it. And for being honest, its last 2 chapters are the only essential part. Am I missing something? I just feel that putting the revamped combat in there with new visuals didn't do enough. Yeah, you're comparing... Remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a much more expensive and much more complicated game than Crisis Core. Crisis Core is very much the bones of the PSP version with some nice visual and some low cleanup, but it is still the PSP game at heart. Like, Final Fantasy VII Remake is not anything like the original game in terms of its skeleton. It's completely ground up. So I guess I can understand that, but I think it's kind of unfair to compare them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think maybe because the presentation, specifically the interface.
Yeah,
they've kind of made it a little bit uniform now. So it looks just like Final Fantasy VII Remake's interface, and you think you're playing. Oh, this is like an add-on to Final Fantasy VII Remake or an interquel or something, and it's obviously it's a prequel. But I get why people would jump to that conclusion.
Yeah, if maybe I guess their expectation is that this is on the same level as Remake of the amount of rework and quality it should be.
I feel like your headspace really determines how much you enjoy this game, because I've definitely talked to people who absolutely hate Reunion and think they'll understand the love for it. But I'm on the fence where I really enjoyed it. It also might have helped I never played through the entirety of the original version, but played through a few hours of it. And I also did not do all the side mission stuff. I did 47% of the side missions on top of the main story. And I was like, I'm good. I don't really need to do anything else here. And it's much shorter game. I don't know. I wasn't so.
It's a smaller game for sure.
Yeah, the only thing that really was a turn off for me was Genesis's dialogue, because he kept quoting that Loveless thing.
Yeah.
And the whole focus on Loveless was a little I don't know. I don't want to say weird. It just didn't seem like it worked well for me.
No, I think everyone kind of agrees.
Yeah,
with that.
and it just wasn't really resonating with me. But I really liked much more about it. I liked seeing Zack's development. You get more backstory on Zack. The last 2 chapters are more relevant to the bigger story, but I was not so much. I mean, it felt like a lot earlier was because him and is developing his relationship with Aerith. You get to see more of the slums too, and I don't know,
more of the Turks and all the workings of Shinra.
I like that. It was definitely a different perspective.
Origins of the Buster Sword, all that stuff. Yeah,
definitely appreciated it. And all Zack's Zack and Angeal's relationship. If anything, I think they could have used a little bit more, interactions and development there, because it was a little bit on the shorter side.
PSP game.
Yeah, but otherwise, I had a really good time with it.
Yeah.
So
to me, this is a remaster that went above and beyond what most remasters do. This was not a remake, really, to me. It's a remaster with some better visuals, but it's still the PSP game at the end of the day. It's all still there. The level design, the breaks in the between there, the character movement, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very nicely done remaster with some nice bells and whistles. But yeah. Square even marketed it as a lesser game. This is a $50 game.
Yeah.
It's not if you buy 7 Remake Intermission now, it's $70 or was. It's a smaller game. Just like the original one was, too. Okay. This is from Highly Anticipated. Greetings, allies. This question is for all, but designed for Bloodworth. Is Beetle Adventure Racing ever coming to Nintendo 64 Online, and where do you rank it among other racers? I have fond memories of this game, as well as Cruisin' and the Rush series. The main question for the panel: what are past games you once played and enjoyed that particularly stayed behind in the respective genre or generation? There's nothing wrong, no wrong answers. Just love to hear some legacy. Love and respect. So, stayed behind in the respective generation. Some games.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with the Beetle
Beetle.
Adventure stuff. Yeah.
Great
well,
rental.
Yeah. It'd be great to see another game like that.
Yeah.
You know, in a way, it's. I don't know that there's really anything quite like that. I mean, you can kind of say that with like, you know, Forza Horizon. Like you've got all these different places that you go around on the map, but it's crazy because I didn't play that game when it came out. I didn't play that game until I streamed it like 4 or 5 years ago. When I first got it, and it's wild. Where like you have all of these different shortcuts and things like that. You've got this crazy like Jurassic Park volcano level and you know spots where you like jump off a bridge and go through an ice cave and just all of this craziness. And I'd love to see more of that kind of thing out of Mario Kart, you know, because it's like you have shortcuts, but they don't really feel like they're that significant or whatever. You know, I guess the Diddy Kong Racing probably did a little bit of that more too, but yeah, it's hard to like have a racing game that's like, yes, it's track based, but it's also got all of these alternate side routes, and like maybe some of them don't necessarily make it faster, but you go to like these interesting areas, and like I think you had to like pick up like kind of collectibles along the way. So that was like part of the things. Is like there's so many laps, but like on this lap you go this way and get these collectibles. On this lap you go the other way or whatever. And you know, and it's hard because I feel like around that era of Split Second or so when that came out was sort of like when this sort of type of racing game kind of died. Yeah. Because these games, like, they didn't really have a lot of tracks. No. You know, 7 or 8 tracks. Yep. And then you just played them over and over again. And now it's like, like we were saying with like Forza and Gran Turismo, it's
they
like
just keep going.
You're making games that are designed to be played until the next game comes out 3 years from now. You know. Yeah.
Well, it's like how many tracks does Mario Kart 8 have? At
right.
This point?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like 100.
Yeah. And even like going back to Wave Race, you know, like it's like 7 or 8 tracks in that game, you know, and so it's really hard. And it has some of the similar elements, right? Where it's like you go around and the water level changes, and now we've got another, you know, a different route to check out and explore. In terms of it coming back, almost no chance. Almost no chance. Because it's an EA N64 game, and good luck getting EA to do anything from that era and bring it back, even if it is like the N64 expansion pass. And then B, like the Beetle license. Yeah, you know, it's like
gotta go through Volkswagen.
Are they gonna really care to have you show off these 1990s Beetle cars? Yeah, which I want to say like that was all part of like the marketing of the Beetle is back.
Yeah, I do remember the new Beetles came.
Yeah,
that was for sure. I was like in elementary school, I feel like.
I remember actually we were like driving out in the middle of nowhere, and we saw them. And again, this is like maybe there would have been a magazine or something that had talked about it, but they had to have been like test driving the cars because there's like a whole line of them, and we're like they look like Beetles, but they didn't have any Volkswagen emblems on it. There's like undercover secret Beetle test driving
government experiments
out in the freaking farm fields, and like what is happening right now?
Wow.
What are all these cars?
Wild. In terms of games that I want to come back that have just been kind of stranded on those platforms, I I want Snowboard Kids back.
Oh yeah.
Just give me Snowboard Kids, man. They're releasing like an album or something for the 20th anniversary. It's like, dude, bring those games back, man. They're so cool.
Just Switch Online, man.
Ah.
Wow, missed opportunity.
I mean, bring them on anything. Let me buy them and own them, for God's sakes.
Yeah, more of the weird. I mean, Square's been doing a lot of them, but yeah, more of the weird classic RPGs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the Illusion of Gaia, Terra Enigma, Brain Lord.
Yeah. I like that they brought up Cruisin' in the Rush series. I like San Francisco Rush a lot. There was like one on like Dreamcast, maybe?
Yeah, they had like Rush 2049 or something.
Yeah, then I think that was it. It's like, man, those games are fun, dude. What about you, Dom? Any of those like
shortcuts? Yeah.
Any games stranded on like older hardware you want?
Well, you're talking about Beetle Racing. Was this made by this? Who made Top Gear Rally on Nintendo 64?
Oh, I don't think it was them. I could be wrong, but EA published it.
Yeah, but like I want to play Top Gear Rally again.
Okay.
I remember having that as a kid and playing a lot of it, but I don't remember. I don't know if it still holds up or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it was super impressive. There was a really strong N64 racing segment. It's like one of the
the
better
cool
genres
games
on that platform.
There was a lot of cool racing games, a lot of cool arcade racing games.
I was surprised when they brought Excitebike 64 back.
Yeah, is that on the thing yet? The Switch Online yet? Dude,
didn't they talk about it
they
recently?
They did like months ago.
I don't think it's on there.
I don't think it's on there yet.
Yeah.
I want to play that. That was a fun rental too. All right. Next question. This is from Brandon K. Gain. Hello, everyone. Currently, I have somewhat of a small backlog with a mixture of games I've never played before and things I need to do for trophy/achievements cleanup. However, as part of the group of games I've never played, one I currently find vexing about getting to is Octopath Traveler. I love how it looks in many respects, but for whatever reason, I keep pushing it off and electing for some other games, and I can't quite explain to myself why. Sometimes I tell myself it's probably because of how long it is, but I'm currently playing a super long RPG of lesser quality, so I don't think that's entirely it. Another reason/excuse I think of it is I could be in my own demo, or I think it could be I own the demo on Switch, which is something I don't like playing on for several reasons. All this lead-in is to ask, have you ever had the feeling of simultaneously wanting to play a game for a handful of reasons, but to have an equal amount of completely different reasons that makes playing the game the same feel like a chore or a hassle? Thanks for reading this lengthy submission if you do, and I hope you stay easy, fellow allies. Yes, Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, yeah.
Is like number one on my thing. I want to play it, but for some reason, I don't want to play it right now. I don't know what it is. I think when I played some of it not about a year ago, and I just like thought everything about it was super ugly, and the menus were super like old and felt really old. And I was just like, ugh, I don't know about this right now.
Right.
But I hear it's so good. I know I probably just got to get past that like first hour or two, and I'll probably really like it. But that's just one of those games for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be easily the case with any kind of RPG or strategy RPG or like just long games. It's like I've been struggling with that.
Yep.
The past few weeks. I mean, probably the past year. Since I had to deal with all this other stuff. But it's just like the actual playing games. Sometimes it can feel intimidating.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then like my brain puts me in this weird trap, kind of like what you're saying, to where it's like I don't feel like I'm like I can give myself the freedom to play something, while at the same time having the anxiety of like I need to play these games, or I want to check that out. I want to check that out. I want to check that out. And like any console I open up, it's like, oh yeah, that's still there. I haven't played that yet. And it's like, but then my brain will look for almost anything else to do first. Even though, like with Goaty stuff, like I don't have to capture anything. I don't have to take a lot of notes or anything like that.
Right.
But there's this weird like anxiety because it's like, or like even like something like Rogue Legacy 2. It's like, okay, when do I like I know I haven't gotten that far into this, but I also feel like I could play forever and not get that far into this. So, when do I move on to something else?
Right.
Yeah, that's very true.
Anything, Damiani?
I mean, I feel like there's been several. I know the thing that popped in my head while you're discussing this is a game. What was it? 3D Dot Heroes. Just because so I'm gonna say this. Don't take this the wrong way, everyone. But every time I hear a game that's compared to Zelda, and I'm asked, Huber, this comes up with Huber a lot, where he asks me, "Why don't you play this when I tell you it's like Zelda?" It's like, I only need to play Zelda. I don't want another Zelda-like game. It already scratches that itch. I'm not seeking more experiences like it. When Zelda starts sucking, I'll look for other games to give me a Zelda experience and like be more interested in these, and maybe I'll come back to these games. But like, I don't want to like. I'm satisfied by playing a Zelda game like every 2-3 years or whatever, wherever the heck they come out, and I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to play another one in between. And most every single one I've ever tried out, like, does not like live up. Like, there are good games. I'm like, this isn't doing I'm not seeing what other people are seeing. So I feel like it's a part pressure that people are putting on, like, by saying that they're putting unrealistic expectations on it. And then it's also like, no matter how, when I do play it and I don't tell them I like it as much, now it's like the disappointment of that. So it's
is it only Zelda with you? Like that? Zelda
pretty much, because for whatever reason, for the longest time, people were like, oh, this game's like Zelda, play this. I'm like, why? Like, yeah. It was especially problematic with 3D Dot Heroes, because I had so many people asking, like, people just started talking to me like I'd already played it. And I'm like, no, I haven't. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's like Zelda 1. Why did you play it? I'm like, because I already played Zelda 1. Like, I'm not, like, and there's like I'm good. I was like, it looks cool and stuff. I mean, I think I booted up and tried it. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, but like I don't want to play through all of this. So, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, I like having familiar experiences, but I get the most satisfaction by playing a game that gives me a feeling of like has a degree of newness in it. Even if it looks like it's doing the same stuff, it just provides a feeling. And it's like very hard to label games ahead of time that are going to do that. Like, Elden Ring did that for me, and it was probably the most recent game that did that for me. And you probably could have predicted that one, obviously, but like for me, I didn't predict. I was like, I'm probably gonna play this and probably get angry at it, or I'm gonna play it and enjoy it for a bit, but like, I don't think I'm gonna get consumed by it like I did.
Surprise, you did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and it's like comes from different games. Like, that's an open world game, and I really didn't play open world games before that, and Breath of the Wild technically. So it's just where sometimes it comes from like different places. Like Vampire Survivors, same thing. Like that game had that same feeling. Like, it made me feel like playing FTL for the first time. So I like getting those experiences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely like the weird little ones. Just try a little to the left.
Oh yeah, the puzzle one. Yeah.
Left. All right, this last one is from Mellow Fellow. Hola, allies. What games have you guys been binging before GOTY discussions? I've been binging Immortality, Neon White, Chained Echoes, and Sifu.
Nice.
Will be
Good
at
list.
the very end, yes. I have stopped doing any of that because I am working on One Piece now. So I don't have time for that. But I did play some over the holiday break. Like, I did beat Sifu, and I did beat Chained Echoes, so...
Yeah, like I said, I've had this weird brain freeze where my brain wasn't giving me permission to play games for whatever dumb reason. But before, I played through all of Kirby, 100% of Kirby, loved that, and then started playing Rogue Legacy 2.
Oh, dude, I did play some of Kirby. I forgot.
Yeah.
On stream, it was so cool.
Yeah.
I need to finish that.
Yeah, and just, I was telling the Hangout this morning too, there's just like, it's just surprising to me that like once you kind of get towards the end, and you start digging into like some of the optional stuff, like the conditions for like extra things that you can do in boss battles, and then things that kind of unlock after you beat the main story, and it's like it just shows you just like how much more thought and stuff was put into this game, and the things that you didn't even really use before, like the dodge, and it's like, wow, there's like they really put a lot into this to make it both like as accessible as Kirby has always been. Anyone can go through this game and play this game and have a good time. But then, like, not that it's necessarily, like, super hard, but there is, stuff in there to kind of push you and challenge you. And, like,
I'd say it's one of the hardest Kirby games I've ever played.
Yeah, and think about, like, those abilities in ways that you just haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
And I feel like the upgrades on a lot of the abilities are actually kind of significant.
Yes, I love the upgrades, dude.
Are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Damiani, what about you? Have you been playing anything? I know you're also busy with other stuff.
Yeah. I made 2 weeks of, 2 weeks of December, last 2 weeks of December were, like, Persona 3 Portable. The Vampires, I got...
Yeah, you played a lot of Vampire Survivors.
Carved some time to play the Vampire Survivors DLC, put a few hours into that. And then, this past Friday was like, trying to play some of patch 6.3. And then another game I've been putting like almost 40 hours into now that you'll be hearing about later. So yeah, I'm like with Brad, like just been, I was like torn on what we're going to do with like Persona 3, but like the embargo happened to land on the day we were recording. So I was like, and then like I already reviewed it at Game Trailers, the P3 Portable. So I was like, I didn't feel like I needed to review it again.
Sure.
I'm like, I've already reviewed this. Like, I don't feel like I need to say my piece again, but like, I was like kind of considering it, but then I was nice blood because I played it without capturing, and then I was like, oh yeah, I didn't capture anything, so I was like, I don't know if I want to like after the captures. So I was like, this is a pain in the ass to go back and capture everything. I was like, I screwed myself there by not capturing anything. I was like, because I was like, I could have just banged out like a short review. I felt like at the end, but. Yeah, like 80 hours, as I said, into that, and like probably like 5.
Yeah, that's a binge. Holy crap.
5-ish hours into Vampire Survivors DLC. Played like 8 hours of 14 on Friday.
You knocked out Crisis Core really fast.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Crisis Core. That shit. So like how many games I'm playing already, and then I did all of Crisis Core. I was like,
I forgot I reviewed that.
I streamed all of that.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It was funny because it was like, and Hubert did the same thing because it's like he played so much Dragon Quest in such a compressed amount of time.
Yes, like a week.
That I was like, wait, you're done? But then I looked at the hour count and it was like, you played that for 80 hours? Like, since the end of December? What?
Yeah. Crisis Core wasn't as long, though.
No, it's not that
was
long.
actually nice. It was only
Crisis
4
Core,
parts. So like
you can get through
4,
pretty fast.
6 hours. It was like 20-something hours.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's it for this episode of Frame Trap. Damiani or Blood, do any of you have any final words or anything you want to say? Anything? Don't got to
I got
if you don't
another
want
thing
to.
to shoot here in a second, so
Another thing
keep
to
your
shoot.
eye open.
Keep those eyes open, yeah. Damiani, anything?
Open. Yeah, again, lots of games. Next week, Fire Emblem Engaged, too.
Oh my god,
Yep.
dude. Yeah, jeez. Okay, that's it, everybody. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.